Hello.
Hello. I'm not wearing a shirt.
How you doing?
I'm all right. It's hot.
It's good. It's good to hear that.
It's hot. It's hot in here, man.
From my understanding, you've been plagued with air conditioning foibles.
Yeah, there's a leak in the AC unit. The Freon all blew away, and I've been encountering a multitude of issues getting it repaired, including one of the dudes coming into my house to repair it, taking his mask off to talk to me, which was sick.
Literally.
Yeah. Well, probably not statistically, but literally pulling the mask off down to talk to me because he thought I couldn't hear him when he's like, "Hey, dude, come upstairs." And I'm like, "No.
Wow.
Why would I go upstairs? I got to show you something." I'm like, "No, you don't."
Wow. Wow.
And then, bonus, I call the place, and the lady's like, "God damn it, that's the second complaint."
Right.
With that one guy.
It's not going to be a first-time thing for sure.
It's one of those dudes that's like, Corona Shmamona, right? We gotta wear these masks. This is stupid. Oh, fuck that bitch.
Yeah, there's a heat wave and everything too. How hot is your place?
Right now, it's not too bad. It's hovering around 27,
Okay.
28. That's upper 70s. Lower 80s for you imperial measurement folk.
Okay.
But I run hot, and the problem is that the basement area that I sit, that PC, that thing, and the TV, those things kick out a shit ton of heat, man.
Oh yeah. No, I can imagine.
Like,
but can you still breathe though?
oh yeah, I'm feeling respirated.
Okay, that's good. Breathing is good.
I would say, stop me if I'm overstepping my bounds, but I feel like that we can put this podcast on a firm breathing positivity stance.
Breathing is good.
It's a high quality activity.
Air getting through, hitting the lungs, coming back out the nose. My nose is a little bit blocked right now.
That kind of fucked that bit up.
No,
a little.
But breathing is good. It's good. It's a good thing to be able to do. You know.
It's all right.
Yeah. So this episode of Castle Super Beast is probably going to get somewhat awkward for anyone who thinks it's going to get awkward, because there's people out there like that. But hey, guess what? That's probably a good thing. It's Go ahead.
We've had like, I remember when COVID happened, and we were like, oh man, we're gonna keep that shit out of the podcast, and then COVID happened. It feels like that.
Yeah, you know, there's things worse to experience in life than feeling awkward at what you're hearing. I suppose, you know. Yeah, I honestly, like, you can imagine it's a fucking mental. It's a ride. It is a weird one. I have not been as glued to my phone, just checking all tweets, following all like just footage of what's going on, like protest cameras, everything like that, like what's peaceful, what's burning, everything. The full gamut of information is overwhelming, to say the least. And like, I literally think I've gotten like perhaps like a combined 4 hours of sleep, maybe 5, over the last couple of days. It's just been, I've been just scrolling through it because there's so much shit to keep track of. And like, there's some, and like every time I'd usually come across something like incredible, I'd be like, oh yo, Punch Bomb, check this out, and then we'd go over and talk about it. and like it's just become like a constant stream of like, okay, there's a million things that you need to find out about and to see what's going on.
Yeah, I got a bunch of buddies of mine who are glued to a stream that is this guy just like combining 4 or 5 different news streams or other live streams.
Yep.
Simultaneously, and he'll hop around different cities, and it's just like, oh, it's popping off out there.
Yeah.
It's really popping off out there.
Yeah.
Every 2 minutes it's like, oh, did you hear this shit? No, that's a new one.
I mean, it's kind of like, well, so to pretty much start with, it's the kind of catalyst. The video of George Floyd dying is the kind of catalyst that, like, there are few examples of like such a clear cut, like, the moment you finish watching this, your blood is on fire or you're a sociopath. Like, there is a feeling that you get, and like, I feel like any time there is going to be a dip in the, like, I guess, motivation to like push forward with these Black Lives Matter protests and things like that, I feel like you just gotta rewatch the video and go, oh yeah, right, okay, cool, back in there.
Right, that's some heinous shit. Yeah,
it is a ridiculous motivator as far as things go. There's so much to it that, like, obviously you can go back through and look at, and I think the way it plays out right now in America is it's very hard to say, but, like, you know, the joke has been ongoing that, like, hey, from the start of the year we've had fucking World War III scares from the
2020
strike of midnight, Kobe, fucking the
oh, that was this year. Oh my god, I thought that was years ago,
dude. So
this is the longest year ever.
So
Australia.
World War III, Kobe, followed immediately by Australia on fire, billion animals dead. Pandemic kicks in, everything canceled, everything quarantined, life changes. Sprinkled in the middle of that, we got literally confirmed UFO sightings. Murder hornets decided to come on and swing by. Death locusts have swarmed. And people discuss.
Oh, Ebola came back like yesterday. I don't know if you know that.
Certainly did. You know, there was a half step towards parallel universe discussion, but ultimately, you know, we not much to say there. Fucking, like, just everything happening right now with George Floyd and the protest, the America on fire. And then Anonymous comes out and is like, hey, yo, check out this weird Epstein shit. And you're just like, this is not even summer yet. 2020,
we're not even 50%.
Not even. This year is utterly ridiculous. And there's like, this is going to be one for the ages. This is a year that, like, you know, like there's tweets where it's just like, hey, remember when people were like, oh man, 2016 worst year ever? Like,
yeah, that was Quiet Shy put that fucking tweet out.
You've
remember
never
that
lived
meme?
a life. Yeah, you've never lived a life, any time in your life where like you've had a year like this, you know. So, yeah.
Hope everybody's doing good out there.
Certainly. Montreal in particular was doing what Montreal does.
Celebrating police brutality.
Well, that's our specialty. The fun thing about that, of course, is, up until that point, you were watching footage of a peaceful protest that was marching and otherwise honorary and celebratory and just kind of, doing its thing. And the police in Montreal, if you didn't hear about it, there's a particular level of like just fucking garbage they carry in their hearts, because they're known for being worst in our nation, worst in Canada.
They're worthless. They're terrible out here.
And like we have so you can go and watch, and like so the everyone's gathered. They do the fist up, they do the 9-minute kneel, and it's going, and then the police are standing and holding the line. Now the police official Twitter of Montreal puts out a 2 tweets that say, "We're here in solidarity with you. We want to make sure everything is,
hey, we're with you, bro,
is safe, and the tragedies that happened are awful. They don't represent our values, so we'll be out there with you, making sure everything stays safe for everybody, and we're here in solidarity." Right? So at the line of where the protesters are standing, and the cops are with the riot shields. After about, I guess, 3 or 4 hours, at some point during the day, as it was getting into the evening, second line of cops comes out, and then they all take a knee, and everyone's like, yeah, and then there's cheers, and like everyone's like, holy fuck, look at that. And there's footage of this line of cops. They all come out and they take a knee, and they are like, you're going, okay, what the fuck, this is crazy. And people are getting super excited for it. And then they pull out their gas masks and put them on while taking a knee. They do their equipment switch. They get up, load up the tear gas, and launch them into volleys into the crowd that is standing there doing nothing. So,
as they usually do out here.
As they do. People scatter. We get the sounds of them running, and everyone running down, the various main streets. And before you know it, it looks like the thing that happens every year here anyway, which is the anti-police brutality demonstration. And of course you're gonna see like there's your little your weird bits of like, that pretty much like while that's going on, you have these other little moments of just like people that are coming out and like doing weird things. Like there's these kids in all black, these like French kids were in all black that were just like spray painting some like graffiti in Creole, and like the person who's filming it is going like, why are you writing that in Creole? Are you pretending to be Haitian? Why would you do that? That's a weird thing to do. And they don't really have much to say to them. Some weird shit like that. But ultimately, like from that point, once everything scatters, you then get the escalation at nighttime into like pretty much full on crazy ass broken glass, like looting, rioting, all of it, the usual. But you get to watch the exact moment it happened, when a bunch of cops came out, took a knee, and then like basically trolled everybody, and then got up and fucking gassed them, and someone pointed out too that like it's kind of reminiscent of there's a there's like a story from 2007 for there's a protest that was not on the island of Montreal, but it was in a city like off island, but in Quebec, where you literally track a couple of cops that like, or like there's a protest over this like union or whatever, and there's a couple of buff looking protesters with masks on join, and everyone is standing there and they're having a peaceful demonstration, but then these guys grab some rocks and start marching towards the police shields, and then the protest leaders get in the way and go, what are you doing, right?
Yeah.
And they just kind of like try to shove them out of the way, and then eventually people like surround them and kind of go like, who the fuck are you guys? You're not with us, you're not doing anything that is coordinated with what we're doing. And then they get called out, and they're basically just like, these guys are cops, and they're agitating, and they're trying to escalate things right now. And
they're provocateuring.
Exactly, provocateuring. And then eventually it gets to a point where they awkwardly are called out and have nowhere to go. So they just kind of slowly start walking towards the line of shields, and the people are getting in the way because they're trying to separate them by going like, no, don't escalate. But then eventually, like after they've just been like made, after they've been made out, right? Like they just kind of push slowly into the shields, and then a couple of cops behind kind of slowly grab them and put them on the ground and arrest them and march them away. And it's the most embarrassing thing because everyone that's filming is just laughing because they're like, this is a hilarious display because you have no exit. You've been found out as a cop that's in hiding trying to escalate this to a riot, and now the only way out is to get fake arrested behind the line and led away, you know?
Very kindly.
Yeah. Shit is ridiculous. So all that to say that at least here in Montreal, they're willing to do that kind of thing, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if
you know, I would like to say one thing, particularly about the Montreal protest, in that every single time I've been arguing with people on and off social media, and people have been constantly conflating my support for the protests with my support for the riots. And I have a bit of a personal experience with this because I can tell you with 100% certainty that the people protesting are not, in many cases, the people rioting. Because I have a brother. And my brother is a hot-headed, violent, dumbass piece of shit. And he must be in his 40s now. And I would bet money that if you went down and scrubbed through that footage of the Montreal rioting, you could probably see this dumbass in the background somewhere, because this is a guy that Dad caught at least once trying to sneak downtown because there might be a riot. Oh man, I could get some shit. Like what? Like not the kind of person who's bad enough to start throwing the rocks and instigate specifically for the riot, but the guy rubbing his hands. In the crowd, just like, oh man, oh, this is gonna be so sick.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna steal a phone.
I mean, there's literally interview on I think it's with CTV or CBC or whoever it is, but there's a French news report of like they're asking these people down at the manifestation, as they say, what's going on, and basically just you're looking at just a couple of like there's a couple of people standing around, and then they interview a couple of white kids that are there, and like the one that they talk to is specifically just like, hey man, yo, you know, I don't know, he's just kind of saying in French like they're like, so yeah, why are you taking part in this? What do you like going for and stuff? And he's like, well, you know, I know that it was originally there's about the police brutality, and the America is doing it as well. Quite frankly, you know, he's like, both my parents are cops, so I don't know, but yeah, we're just out here, we're just seeing what's going on, and looking to maybe have some fun. I don't know, you know, and he said, and then like the other guy next to him just kind of comes in and goes, well, you know, it's more about sending a message, and they just kind of like, it's this very clear, he says into the microphone, I'm out here to cause trouble. Like that's what's up, you know, and you're like, all right.
That's what's going to be known as the Jake Paul in the future.
Well, yeah. So there you go, right? That's what you get alongside it. So yes, I think it's important to, you know, like mention that there's definitely two kinds out there. You know, and somehow at the same time, it is equally like, it is an understandable like thing when you see you're looking at like how these riots are like working out, and you're seeing instances of behavior from the police officers that is like the same type of mentality that it takes to kneel on someone's neck for 9 minutes. You're seeing that exact same type of mentality kick in as they handle the current events, you know? And it's almost like there's a it's almost like there's a consistent percentage of, you should not be a police officer. What the fuck are you doing here? What is wrong with you? That kicks in.
Wooly, they give you a gun.
Yeah. And you get to see a lot of that. You get to see that scale up as the instances of, you know, like police interaction scale up, you know, and you get to see like the fucking likes of there's so much just insane, like, how are you even remotely a cop kind of shit that's being tagged right now online, alongside the ones where you got the footage of the cops that are like, yeah, let's march with you, and we're here in solidarity and all that stuff. Like, you're seeing a full gamut of just complete nonsense, you know? I think honestly, like, there's a million things you can go into on this, and yeah, and I think, as you mentioned too, like, there's a difference between like condoning the nature of like just like wanton rioting, destruction, burning things, and like basically and then putting that as a larger concern over lives being lost. I think there's two different discussions happening there, you know, and in some cases,
and some willful ignorance over your point on those discussions.
I think so as well. Exactly. Like, and you know, there's a couple different takes on it. Like, there's a couple different you know, people have put together their thoughts, and kind of like we've seen. There's been like there's the message that like I retweeted, where like Trevor Noah had a breakdown where he was kind of going like this, like, you're looking at some people in this are seeing this as a breaking of the social contract that we have as a society, where some people are literally like, why should I even follow that contract if my life is pretty much like irrelevant and is not and the contract is not being upheld, right? On the opposite end of things, much less by the people that are supposed to protect it and things like that, right? There's a that type of thing. I think, like, you pretty much of all, and then there was that other video, of course, of like the, you know, a couple people like there was the guy who's like 45 and he's just like, I've been doing this my entire life, I'm fucking sick of this shit. And the guy who's like, I'm 30, I have a 5-year-old, I've been doing this years ago, it got nowhere, I'm sick of this shit. This kid over here is 16, please find another way, do what we couldn't do because we don't know what to do anymore, you know? And like, that type of energy is just like, it's a level of just like desperation that is in everyone. There's a level of desperation that is like, it's hard to convey that feeling of just absolute helplessness when you're like, I literally don't know what else to do to fix this problem, to make this go away. So here we go, I guess. It's like, literally, like, I've tried to get the point across, and I don't know what else to say anymore, and no one seems to care, and the people who are supposed to be making the differences do not make any difference whatsoever. They're like, it becomes almost like a joke of a like slow procession anytime there's a police complaint that doesn't get followed up on, to the point where you're like, oh yeah, this dude, the officer Chauvin, had like 18 previous fucking claims against him that led to nothing.
3 deaths
that led to nothing. You're like, this type of shit is so predictable, but why nothing, you know? So the most interesting thing I saw in regards to all of this was a thread that I retweeted, and I think this would be a beneficial thing to share and discuss, at least for a little bit, because I don't see anyone really talking about this, and I feel like this could be actually positive if it goes anywhere. This is a thread by Samuel Sinyangwi, who this is from 2019, and he's a data scientist, policy analyst, Stanford alumni, and a black activist. So he is basically putting data alongside the activism, and it's created a thread here that I put out there, which is, for those who are interested in research-based solutions to stop police violence, here's what you need to know based on the facts and the data. A thread, right? As soon as I saw this, I was like, this is fucking interesting, because again, the overwhelming feeling is complete helplessness and uncertainty as to what to do. Right? There's just this is the first thing I've read that just goes, here's an example of what you can actually do. And it starts with one, everything you've probably heard is a lie, specifically the most discussed solutions to police violence that have no evidence of effectiveness. For example, body cams don't reduce violence.
Not if they don't turn them on. Or,
well,
I mean, even if they do have them on, like, what am I talking about?
Yeah. Literally, there is, and then again, and what's important here too, and the reason why I really like this is because every sourced link here is not it's not linking to an article written by somebody or a post of some kind on a news site or anything like that. It's linking to a research paper. And that's when you're like, okay, we have the data, we are looking at this can be trusted, right? You're looking at this first link is a randomized controlled trial evaluating the effects of police body-worn cameras. And the conclusions drawn in the abstract are that let me get to the exact sentence here. Yes, here we show that body-worn cameras have a very small and statistically insignificant effect on police use of force in civilian complaints. Right? So, like, yeah. Anyway, so you get this first thing where it's like, okay, you do not have any sort of like proof here that the idea, the implication is, if there's a camera, then there's accountability, right? And then that would change the behavior. And then you look at it and it goes, no, it turns out there isn't. And then there's an actual little chart where you can see rates of disorderly conduct, complaints, and use of force. And then like right beneath it is like almost the exact same line for people that are in a randomized control trial of over 2,200 officers over a period of months, right?
Right.
So great. First one is that body cameras do nothing to affect the behavior. Second is there's no evidence that better police training or programs or implicit bias training changes behavior in any way. The trainings vary in quality and rarely result in any accountability or changes in decision making. So don't put this at the top of your agenda, right? It's like, okay, so, and I'm like, when I think of it, I'm like, these are the first two things that you always hear about is camera and better training. And then it's like, yeah, nope. Turns out those don't do shit. So I'm like, well, what the fuck comes next? Right?
I don't know.
So third, more restrictive state and local policies. Oh yeah, so that doesn't work. So it's like, what does work? More restrictive state and local policies governing police use of force associated with significantly lower rates of police shootings and killings by the police. So there's 30 years of research identified across multiple precincts in multiple counties, and basically they've put together a list and a comparison of all these different counties and what they don't, like, basically some of them have policies that others don't have, and some of these are things that basically are shown to have less rates of violence in the counties where more of these things are enacted. So
okay,
the list of the things that you can put in place to have less police violence in your area. The first one that they list is requiring officers to de-escalate situations where possible by communicating with subjects, maintaining distance, and otherwise eliminating the need to use force. Makes sense.
Tell people to calm it down instead of ramp it up.
Yes. Second, not allowing officers to choke or strangle civilians in many cases where less lethal force could be used instead, resulting in unnecessary death or serious injury to civilians.
Yeah, it's been a common refrain lately, especially on video, of like, man, those anything to do with your fucking neck.
Yep. Requiring officers to intervene, and this was the big one, requiring officers to intervene and stop excessive force used by other officers and report these incidents immediately to a supervisor. It's self-explanatory. Restricting officers from shooting at moving vehicles, which is regarded as a particularly dangerous and ineffective tactic. And
it doesn't sound like that one sounds like the least controversial enactment ever.
And it links to another source for some information on why shooting at moving vehicles is a bad idea.
Hey, don't shoot at cars.
Developing a force continuum that limits the type of force and or weapons that can be used to respond to specific types of resistance. In other words, you can tase an unarmed person, you cannot shoot them. Right? This equals that. You create a rock, paper, scissors, if you would, of if this is what you're dealing with, this is what you use type of situation. Requiring officers to exhaust all other reasonable means before resorting to deadly force. Literally, I always thought that was a thing that applied to all police everywhere. Apparently, that is not.
I thought
the case
that was
everywhere.
built in. Yeah.
Yeah. No. A couple of these things I thought they were built in, and it turns out they're not necessarily.
How stupid.
Turns out they're not. It turns out it changes. And that in some cases, literally, there are police union contracts that reset and change the rules over every 4 or so years or something along those lines. But I'll get to that in a second. Exhausting all other reasonable means, giving a verbal warning before shooting. When possible, and requiring them to report each time that they use force or threaten to use force, which, again, I was under the impression that every time a trigger is pulled, there's a report that has to be given about that. Apparently, that does not apply everywhere. That is not the case across the country or across the North America, for that matter, but especially in America. So you're looking at, like, things that I thought were a given that turn out to not be a given. And then they go into a list of everywhere alphabetically down from Albuquerque all the way down to Wichita and Winston-Salem. And they just run through how many of these policies exist and are active in these given places. And it runs the gamut. Some of them are half and half. Some of them they're all in place, like in Philadelphia, in San Francisco, they're all in place. In Reno and in North Las Vegas, none of them are in place, right? So you literally just have different levels of that type of accountability available in different places across the country. So you're going to get different results because literally cops are allowed to do more or less, or they're going to handle situations the way they're trained to, with more or less, like, again, accountability, you know? So that's an interesting link in and of itself, right? Going back to that original list of things, right underneath that, the next one is police departments that get more military weapons from the federal government kill more people. You can stop that from happening. You can stop that from happening through state and local policy. Montana, a red state, has gone the furthest on this. And then it gives you a link. Again, we have a study straight to an academic paper, not, hearsay or anything that is just questionable. Hard data that shows you they've tracked the number of military equipment transfers to various departments, law enforcement agencies, and looking at the abstract, straight up, let me get the exact sentence here for you. Yes, exactly. So there is a direct correlation between the number of military equipment transfers to the law enforcement agencies and the cases of civilian casualties, police violence instances, and the number of dogs killed by police.
Ugh.
If there are more military transfers to your precinct, and like the equipment that you see goes into that, like the higher level of that equipment goes, the more dogs are getting killed in any given area, alongside fucking everything else, right? So I was like, wait,
that's just
that's a
it's
stat.
so out of nowhere. It's just by the way,
exactly, it's a stat they have but they've got the data. They've got the data, you know. We find a positive and statistically significant relationship between military equipment transfers and fatalities from officer-involved shootings across all models. And then you can go into the full study to see there, you know. I forget which documentary or show it was, but I remember watching something where they were like, the people that were filming, they went to a precinct and they were like, hey, ooh, look at that bad boy, what's that about? And the cops were so excited to show them the tank they just acquired and the fucking APCs and like the level of just military tech that they got, you know, to police individual like people, you know. Anyway, so the next thing on that list goes police union contracts. Every 4 to 6 years, a police department's accountability system is renegotiated, purging misconduct records, reinstating fired officers, department funding. It's in the contract. Cities with worse contracts have higher police violence rates. So you literally have a situation where every 5 years average, a police union contract will renegotiate and let things like misconduct records disappear, and fired officers can return to work pending how hard that union fucking fights for those things. And it's kind of psychotic because the implication here is the union you think would exist to protect anyone in their given profession from bullshit from the people who pay them and above and such, and making sure that, you know, they're given their rights and so on. But then it somehow turns into this type of situation where it's like, so you are making it easier for bad officers to get off the hook, and that makes no fucking sense. Like, if you're looking at it from the point of view of, we want to make it so that our officers have every given opportunity to you know, like clear their name if something happens, and it's something that, and you want to make sure that these are good. If you're saying that these are good police officers that like got into a bad situation that needs clarification, you also have to look at the point of view of like, and then when you have bad officers that you are putting behind this shield, they're being protected from ramifications, right? So the list of things that how police union contracts block accountability. 1, they disqualify misconduct complaints that are submitted too many days after incidents occur or investigations that took too long to complete. Right? Things I didn't know here. 2, they prevent officers from being interrogated immediately after being involved in an incident, or otherwise restricting how, when, and where they can be interrogated. There was another side article about why it took so long for Chauvin to get arrested. This is the type of thing that steps in and explains that. Unions actually are involved in how like quickly that happens. Giving officers access to information that civilians don't get prior to being interrogated. Requiring them to pay costs related to police misconduct, including giving officers paid leave while under investigation, paying legal fees, and the cost of settlements. Preventing information on past misconduct investigations from being recorded or retained in an officer's personnel files. So when you have 18 fucking things filed against you, you can actually have those sealed away, hidden, cleared, who knows what, depending on what your union negotiates for you. And it's literally being like, nah, you didn't do nothing wrong. No problems there.
It's one of those things where it's like, I have trouble going over it in my head and figuring out which is actually the most useful, because clearing or hiding your misconduct, that's pretty good. But I think what might be the best is just like, when you do a stupid fucking thing and you get in the box and it was like an hour ago, you're liable to say some stupid shit.
Yep.
Or not have actually gotten your bullshit straight.
Yep.
and giving the ability to like just cool off for a
It's
day
literally
or
called a
two.
cooling off period, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Literally called a cooling off period before they do any sort of before they open up to talk about what happened. They're given that in their union contracts. Yeah. Again,
That's nice.
this is a lot of data I'm dropping in one fell swoop, so stop me if you can't follow or if there's anything that is just like, a bit much, but again, I feel like this type of stuff was like, I'm like, this is the most informative shit I've seen. Also, the last thing on that list was there's limitations on disciplinary consequences for officers that limit the capacity for civilian oversight and structures to hold the police accountable. So, yeah, effectively, the short of this, the TLDR of this point is that unions can do whatever the fuck they want when they renegotiate a police contract, and like everything that you would think would build up to leading to people being fired when they're like, this is clearly a bad officer that's going to kill somebody for no reason. It's like, yeah, but 5 years, wipe the record, never happened, don't worry about it. So that's bad. Then there's one that is just a straight up predictive policing on the police. Yes, use the technology against them. Data use on force, complaints, and lawsuits can be used to identify officers who are most likely to shoot someone next and prevent it from happening. Use the methodology to save lives. And this is just going into how, if you have access to those records we just talked about, you can actually put together a predictive pattern that'll show you likely which officers are going to continue frequently causing these infractions and will likely lead to an escalation where someone is killed, that someone innocent is killed, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
So yep, this was gathered through 8,600 officers that they followed over the courses of 2007 and 2015, and basically tracking the frequency of complaints and the types of complaints led to a higher predictability in the next infractions. Then it goes into investing in alternatives to police's crime prevention strategies. Every 10 additional organizations in a city, community organizations, reduces, apparently, I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is crazy, reduces the murder rate by 9%, reduces the violent crime rate by 6%, reduces the poverty crime rate by 4%. And then he links to the research on this, which this is probably the one that I'm like, really? And it's like, yeah, it straight up is saying the more community organizations you have present in any given area reduces those numbers on a hard descent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then you can look at it. Yeah, the abstract breaks down the exact numbers of it, and this was the information on this, that for the increased nonprofit organizations and community centers dropping these crime rates drew from a panel of 264 cities spanning over 20 years. So there's a large body to pull from there. This one is particularly related, and you see these every once in a while. 8 established non-police alternatives to 911 calls involving people with mental illness. For example, 1 in 5 of the 911 calls in Eugene, Oregon are diverted to mental health first responders instead of police to respond. So it goes into basically play areas where you respond to someone who is, for example, suicidal with a mental health expert as opposed to police officers, because we've seen cases where people go in and like cops go into a suicide call and then they walk out like, yeah, we shot him. And you're like, oh, okay, well, glad we called you,
Very, very helpful. Thanks, guys.
So that is a really good one and again, it's like this is the type of thing where you're like, these are a working examples that just have not been scaled up for whatever reason, because infrastructure does not put a priority on these issues, but the data is there. 9, resource the Department of Justice, after the current president is voted out, in brackets, to initiate more investigations of police departments. Departments that receive federal intervention have 25 to 30% fewer police shootings than those that do not. Graph here, federal intervention, reduced police shootings, and it just, there's 2 lines. One line is the list of precincts where federal oversight was involved. It starts at around 250 shooting incidents over the course of 2010 to 2016, and it drops to below 100. And then the other list of precincts where there is no oversight starts at about 350, hits 400, goes back down to 350, and then back up, and then just keeps escalating. So it's literally a line going down and a line going up. 25 to 30%. 10, know that change is not only possible, it's already happened in some places. Oakland police shot 8 people on average 5 years ago, and after these interventions were implemented, they had 0 shootings last year, 1 in 2018. The officers were fired for it, and 0 the year before. Lives were saved. That sounds crazy to me because I've always heard about Oakland as an insanely dangerous place. And finally, we've cataloged an extensive range of research studies and other information detailing potential solutions to police violence over here at Campaign Zero, the research laboratory. Yeah, this is all put together with links to data, which again I find the most convincing when I look at these things, and I'm like, okay, here is a gigantic list of shit that I have not heard of up until now that you can literally put into place that in theory and in practice would make an actual difference.
Shit that works.
Yeah. I've been talking a lot, so I'm taking a moment to untalk.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it'd be nice to actually see things that actually work rather than, well, maybe we should do this. What is the source on that again?
So this is Samuel Sinyangwe, so SAMSWEY on Twitter, and I put I'm going to put a link to this post in the docket, and I've retweeted it on my account. So like, you should just, in fact, I'll bump it again just so that everyone can see it quicker. But like, this is the type of thing where I'm like, there's a lot of shit I say and that gets called out for being wrong and whatever the case is. In this case, I'm like, I would like to point to these research things if I'm ever having a discussion about this, to go like, well, here it is in the form of a study. Please go investigate for yourself and see. I will bump it. There we go. So it should be right up top there. Very interesting. Very interesting. Pretty fucking good shit. Yeah. Yeah. So that is the type of thing that, like, when I read that, you actually feel like I want to say hopeful, but that's not the right word, because that is insane. But you're like, what it is there was previously no idea what can be done to actually change things. And now it's like, it's right there. It's right there. People just have to know about it, and people who have the ability to make things happen need to care about it and decide to put an emphasis on that. But it exists. It's fucking right there. And the feeling of like, oh my God, there it is completely different from, holy shit, fuck all of this, I can't see another one of these.
Yeah.
It's a very different mental place to be at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you I mean, like, I guess I'm just like,
I'm looking for, I'm not sure where to go or what to say next, I'll be honest, because that was quite a bit, and I appreciate you sharing it.
Well, I guess I'd you know, we can make this a less awkward walk by going like, okay, well, are you like of all the stuff you're following, I guess, like, like, what do you find has like shocked you the most outside of the original event?
The most? Let me think about that. Probably shocked. Okay. Because it's definitely not the worst, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm fairly cynical as a person. Probably, honestly, the thing that shocked me the most is the fact that there are this many people out in the streets at all. Like everywhere.
The sheer number.
Like the huge big number. Like, this is the most depressing thing that I could possibly say is that, like, we've all seen this song and dance before, like many times, and none of them were like this.
Yeah.
This one is very much bigger.
And to understand why, all you have to do is watch the video again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of those things where you just you like it, like I started said at the beginning. You click play, and then 10 minutes later you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. There's no questions here, you know? And like, you have to also take into account the fact that it's like, could you imagine if we had that level of clarity of video for all of the instances you hear about on a regular basis? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you didn't have this level of clarity on that video, it would not be as cut and dry. If there was no footage, then you would just hear about it. It would be a story. People would not really have a visual of how fucking clear cut it is that this dude and his ego were the only thing that killed a man for fucking nothing.
Apparently he knew. Personally.
Yes, from working together for 17 years as bouncers at the joint across the street or whatever. Personally knew the guy, and also the officer who was like standing in front blocking people from coming on was his brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that type of backstory going on. There's a story about like Chauvin and Floyd knew each other and worked together as bouncers, apparently, according to someone that was on a news report with this. So, and and you know, and then you're kind of like, okay, so that type of video existing for multiple other instances would have probably netted in something like this sooner, but it was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time.
Maybe, maybe not. I was talking with a friend of mine, and I'm like, when do you think this is gonna, end? And he described to me that one of the problems with protests in the United States in the past has been like people eventually got to go back to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's only so long you can protest if you got to go back to work. And what with COVID and the lockdown and all that shit, nobody has to go back to work because nobody's working.
Yeah. Yep, that's true. That is true. Well, you know, we'll fucking see, you know? We will see. But yeah, that's history books right there.
Oh, hey, well, as you mentioned earlier that you were going to put the source for that research on your Twitter. What Twitter would that be exactly?
Oh, on Woolly Wools, WOLIEWOOZ as LZ. But the tweet I specifically, I'm linking to it in the docket as well, so you can
okay
catch that as soon as you need to. Yeah. There was another thought in there, but you know, ultimately, that's the deal. That's the deal. You know, of course, you know, there's more to discuss of the variety that, you know, you can't get enough of brand solidarity. You know,
yeah,
you can't.
Oh man,
you can't get enough of it, and it is my pleasure to let you know that about half of the docket this week is brand solidarity.
Oh boy, I sure do love products that stand up for me.
It's about like the brands hugging each other and crying. Raylith's comic.
Raylith's comic was perfect.
Yeah. So we'll get into that as when we get to those items. What do you have anything else that you've been checking out or doing and such? Because there are other things, I suppose, that were done.
Oh yeah. Okay. So aside from all that shit, I actually got Teppen working on a emulator.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I fucking hate it.
Interesting.
Like I spent the time to download BlueStacks and got working and was like, yeah. And I started to do the tutorial and I saw the bars moving. Like, you know, and play this bar, play that bar. And I'm just like, oh, I hate this. Bummer. Total like,
You hate the bars?
I hate the bars. I'm not also like a fan of its general presentation.
No.
Like the animated characters, that looks great. And the moves, that looks great. But the look of the cards and all that, I just like no thanks.
Oh, okay.
And then I went over down the street to Riot Games and started to play Runeterra.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've played more of these games than I have, so you know you've got a better grasp on like the differences between them and what's what.
Teppen's a weird one. Teppen's like super goofy weird. Like it is definitely the farthest out there out of all of them.
But the Capcom though.
Yeah, I know. And that appeals, right?
Wooly actually cares about the pictures on the cards. What a loser.
It helps.
Yeah.
I mean for real though, like one of the things that I started playing Legends of Runeterra, which I should mention is incredible. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm genuinely shocked, and I thought it might be because I'm a dumb baby and don't know nothing about card games.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a buddy of mine who was an old Magic the Gathering nerd and then became a Hearthstone nerd and is now a Runeterra nerd like overnight. And he's like, oh, no, this thing is this is much closer to Magic. There's a lot more counterplay. There's less situations like in Hearthstone where you're just sitting with the winning set of cards in your hand, waiting to play them. And then the opponent can't do anything about it. But so yeah, game's great. But I loaded it up, and one of the first things that happened is they go through the tutorial, right? Yeah, you got to do a tutorial to teach people how to use cards.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things they do is they give you a Garen card. And Garen's a champion in League of Legends. And when the card levels up, which it can do, he does a spin attack and then heals himself. And I go, oh, when I played League a couple weeks ago, Garen was super overpowered because he could heal when he would spin. I know that.
I remember.
I know Garen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then I played more, and it's like, oh, look, that guy has a Teemo. Fuck! I hate Teemo. Fuck! And playing against Teemo in this card game gives you the same exact emotion as playing against Teemo in League, which I have to say kudos. Big kudos on that. That infuriating little shit that I love to play as, but holy crap. So yeah, no, the fact that it is a recognizable series of characters to many, it matters a lot. Like even Jinx. I know you've seen Jinx at cons for years and years and years. She's in there. She can get a gun.
It's something that I find really fun is seeing how characters that you recognize, how their abilities are adapted into the format, you know?
Oh, it's fascinating.
It's really interesting to see how Sigma, I think like whatever it is, like unyielding vengeance Sigma or something. Excuse me. Is a card that is pretty cheap to play, and he starts pretty garbage, but every time he dies, he gets a little bit stronger, and you can play him indefinitely over and over and over again. You know,
perfect.
And like he just keeps coming back a little bit stronger every time, and it's just like, fucking go away, Sigma. Never. You know?
Let's get out of here. Oh, again with the Sigma?
Yeah.
Again? Yeah, probably. Like I'll use Teemo's example because he's a very popular and hated League character, and he exemplifies it the best. I think he's the best adaptation of any of them that I've played. In League, Teemo is a character that can often go invisible, and has a blow dart, and puts poison mushrooms all over the fucking ground. And when you walk on them, they're mines.
Okay.
And just constantly hangs out invisible and floods the lane with shit and pokes at you if you try and move forward. Infuriating, right?
Okay.
In Runeterra, he's he's super weak and you can kill him easily if you catch him. If you bring him out in Runeterra, he's an elusive card which can't be attacked by anything other than other elusive cards or spells, so most units just can't attack him at all. And when you play him and he manages to attack you, he plants a bunch of poison mushrooms on your deck, and so every round you fucking draw a card, there could be a mushroom that does a damage to you on your deck.
Okay.
And once he levels up after doing enough of those mushrooms, instead of adding 5, he will multiply the amount by 2. So you go from 5 mushrooms, 8 mushrooms, 12 mushrooms, 15 mushrooms, to 30, 60, 120, and then you're just every time you pull your deck a card, you're like, oh, there's 4 mushrooms on this, I take 4 damage. Oh, there's 7 mushrooms on this, I take it.
Which
and
is like
nothing you can do
which is like
it.
fighting him. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's this infuriating shit show of I can't kill that fucking piece of shit, and he keeps putting these fucking mushrooms down.
So there's so when Zero came out, he introduced the memory mechanic, which is basically as Zero plays more cards, he gets his memories back, and as he gets his memories back, he becomes stronger. You know, your attacks get better, you do more damage, and it's all based on unlocking things that you already had. You know, but what's cool is then they can apply that to other characters that can also like make sense with that, in the sense that so there's a card called Veteran Agent Leon, right? And basically it's like there's a card that is Leon in RE4 after he's been through the shit, and if you play it at the beginning, then he's kind of just like regular like RPD, like sort of like strength Leon. It's just a normal card, pretty tough, but whatever. But if you play it after your memories are like higher and higher and higher, the experience he gets as an agent goes up, so that when you drop him on the board, it immediately like attacks everything, depending on how much experience he's had, and then he becomes like an insane super fucking card.
Because he's ripped and he's juiced.
And he's learned so much shit since RE2. And now that it's RE4, he's got the jacket and he's fucking, you know, taking on Las Plagas by himself, you know? So yeah, that type of thing is like, oh, that's interesting. That's like, you kind of found a way to, it's called flavor, someone says? Yeah, flavor. You found a way to like take the mechanics and make them fit properly with the character's lore, you know? That's always a fun little thing.
So, like, that's applying to League, which is, I've heard popular. I've heard that League could be popular. On top of that, probably the weirdest thing about Runeterra by far is that you're not allowed to buy card packs.
So how does it work?
There's no way to buy card packs at all. So the way that it works is that 90% of the cards that you will acquire, you are basically just playing matches and earning XP and just unlocking just packs, like packs of cards or champion packs of cards or shards, which are the, you know, the, what would you call it? The currency to just make new cards. Or they give you a bunch of wild cards, which is like, oh, you got a rare wild card, which means you trade it in for one rare. And you're just basically grinding XP to go up these progression paths for various regions, or to upgrade your weekly chest, which will just drop a shit ton of cards.
But there's got to be some form of like micro that you can dump into.
There is.
Yeah.
Most of it is cosmetic. Like, do you want a different looking board? Do you want a different looking little animal mascot on your board? And if you do want to spend money on cards, it is go to the card you want, click on it, and then buy it.
How about that?
If you have a wild card for it, you can use a wild card. If you have the shards for it, you can use shards. Or if you want to pay a dollar amount for that, just buy it.
Interesting.
That being said, the rewards paths that they have, like the way it works is a little weird, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regions in the game, and they function like the magic system of like different colors of mana, right? So in Runeterra, you can only make a deck out of 2 areas, but realistically, that's like you can have a blue-green deck or a red-orange deck, or
color
whatever,
mixing, right? Yeah.
And each of those regions has a very, how many? It's like 30 item path, like progression path. And when you go down it, they give you a shit zillion cards. Like a fucking ton of them.
Hmm.
And once I'm halfway down one and like a third of the way down a bunch of the others. And once I'm done that, like I will be drowning in the vast majority of the game's cards, except for maybe champions, which are the most expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you get one of those a week fairly easily, probably more. So this is easily the freest of the free card games in terms of monetary spending.
Because with Teppen, like you earn cards, through events and playing and grinding out gold and stuff. But you buy so you can. There's different there's all the different currencies basically are for buying decks, and or rather not decks, but like I guess a booster pack equivalent. But the only way to get a specific thing that you want is to it's kind of like the Overwatch sort of like duplicate loot system where it's like you have to build up duplicate currency and then forge the duplicate currency into the specific cards you want. So
that's what Dust is in Hearthstone, and the shards here. It's
predicated on you having fuck tons of shit you don't want to turn into a thing that you do, so
yeah, you get that for duplicates here because you can only have 3 of each card, but they also give out wild cards like candy, like the champion ones, which is like orange rarity or whatever you would call it. Those are rare. Those are rare as shit. They cost like 3,000 shards and they're fucking super expensive, right? Everything else is fucking dirt cheap. I'm drowning in wild cards for everything other. Like I have already made like I net deck because I'm really bad at making my own decks, at least for now. And I've already made like a proper deck with just my first week's amount of cards, and I was able to pick like grab this, grab this, grab that, kind of shit.
Okay.
Well, the game is fucking incredible. If you were more interested in just cards, just playing cards, like a good card game, I would extremely big recommend this one. As it is really good.
That sounds sounds interesting. I saw lots of people pointing out that they thought it was silly that I care about the pictures, but I probably wouldn't have picked it up if I didn't want to see some of that artwork. So I guess it's one of those bits where I'm like, yeah, the thing that draws me in is oftentimes not the thing that's going to draw in a card game enthusiast, so I'm just a different weird audience, I like the Capcom stuff in Teppen, and I'm kind of like drawn towards that. Don't really have much attachment to League characters or the Riot brands.
I have I saw somebody say, like, didn't Pat say he got into it because of League? Like, no, I am familiar, and it is like cool to see something I recognize. But like the main thrust of it is like, this is just a really, really excellent fucking card game. It's just really, really high quality. Yeah, everything about it just screams like, first of all, it's gorgeous. It sounds great. Like the card, and when the card levels up, it's really flashy. It's got like Paige was watching it and she said that it looked like I was playing a fucking pachinko machine.
Oh wow, okay.
Because just like constant
I would imagine
flash.
It's got the budget to gleam, no doubt. And you gotta have the addiction triggers for sure, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have the sound effects and the particular type of lens flare that makes you get a little bit of an adrenaline rush every time you see it, slot machine chemicals, right? Yeah, exactly. But I don't know what to tell you. I'm just like, You know, there's like the fact that it's a card game comes like third, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But and the other card games that I
wait,
have,
hold on. If that comes third, one's Capcom, then what's second?
Power Gap, for emphasis.
Okay. All right.
And you know, when I got into Yomi, like I was on the basis of like loving the mechanics and also liking the characters and liking the fighting game sort of approach to things, you know. So that's it. That's how I go on the thing. So I probably shan't be checking out Runeterra, especially not since I'm fucking gunning for top 100 in Teppen, and I might actually make it.
Really?
I might.
That's bananas.
I mean, got pretty. I got. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm getting better because like I'm recognizing meta decks faster, and that means I'm implementing a shutdown strategy faster, and that means I'm seeing more surrenders.
Yeah. Runeterra games almost always end in surrender. At least from my experience. Because you get to the point where you're like, nope. Like, nobody lets the turn finish because you just see, like, oh, that's going to kill me. I have literally nothing to stop that.
Totally, yeah.
I have nothing.
There's some really crazy, there's some really great moments, and like, you know, every once in a while, like I said, like I have the replay like saved just for the just to kind of show. And like I took a look at I did a bit of a Teppen stream, you know, earlier last week, because was not able to record with Reggie for a little bit, so you know, I kind of gave people a look into what I've been doing and where I'm at and stuff, and so people got to kind of see some of the play that I was discussing. And yeah, there's just a thing where you're like, I recognize your character and your super off the bat, and then the first couple of plays have a pattern to them, and if I start to see that pattern, then this is how you stop it, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know how to stop it, but you can't because the thing you need to stop it is at the bottom of your own deck. So it is what it is, you know. But with more knowledge like that, I think it's easier to get consistently to like top 500, top 300, and beyond, you know.
I think by far the craziest thing that I've encountered is particularly when Paige pointed out at me. Do you remember when I told you about how when I was playing League, like I was actually remarkably chill and was like, whatever, everybody getting toxic, it makes me happy. Like, who can, you know, like, I have yelled at my screen the most playing this game of any game I have played in a long ass time.
Now, is that usually caused by the thing they drop on you, or you not getting the thing you need?
Both. But right, like 1% higher is there is a series of control spell cards in this game. I'm not sure if Teppen has them, but it's like cast a spell and kill a character outright.
Yes, there's
or cast a spell
Destroy.
And stun a character outright.
Halt. Yep.
Or do whatever the fuck.
Yep, totally.
Right?
Totally.
And just oh man, I'm gonna win, this card's gonna hit and I'm gonna win, and he just killed it.
Yeah. So
and he just killed it. My card died.
I've taken the opposite approach. I've taken the approach of like, you know, odds and stats make me feel sort of more comfortable in a lot of cases. So if I'm looking at like a Morrigan, I'm like, she's going to halt me. I'm going to lose seconds. No, like it's going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, I'm pleasantly surprised. But I'm always preparing for it to happen because like you expect the worst, you know? And when I've had matches where it's like, okay, I know what you're doing and you're about to absolutely fuck me up. But if I can get my counter, which is somewhere in this deck, I have to find it. I can stop you, right? And so you have moments where I'm scrambling, just playing any nonsense to get to the thing I need. And like, if I go through like, I don't know, like 10 out of 30 cards and I still don't find what I'm looking for, I'm just like, well, the deck shuffled bad for me. There's nothing like it wasn't in the cards. I made the correct play and I have a counter in there, but it didn't show up. It's on the bottom of the deck. What can you do, So I kind of accept those.
It's the kind of situation where the particular spell that has caused the loudest just screaming fuck is there's a spell, I forget what country has it, because the spell cards are specific to region. So once you learn it, I'm supposed to know, okay, hold up. Shadow Isles could have if they have 7 points, they can just kill a card outright. But there's a 4-point card called Deny. Mm-hmm. And it literally just deletes the last spell you cast.
Oh yeah, Ada Wong.
And like I have seen it over and over and over where I have the win. It's right there. It's right.
Yeah.
Just
negate. It's called negate.
God, motherfucking damn it.
You drop an 8
yes,
up.
Pat hates control decks. That's right. I fucking hate them.
Well,
but yeah, I've been extremely pleased. And one of the things that I briefly mentioned earlier,
I'm running a control deck.
Yeah, of course you are, you piece of shit. Something I briefly mentioned earlier, but I will mention again to point out is that I fucking forgot what I was saying. I lost it. I got so mad about you running a control deck that I literally it just went away.
Yeah. Well, it
just went away.
I was trying. I like I said, I was running a Nero growth deck, and yep, I got controlled, and I'm like, I don't like this. This is not what I want to do. So,
Yeah, it's miserable. It's just playing against Yasuo, and it's really funny because the heroes that they've chosen to be control decks are control like characters. They're characters that stun or pull or what have you. I literally can't remember what the fuck I was gonna say. I fucking hate control decks so fucking much. I hate Yasuo so much.
It sounds like you're making it sound like you've been playing this game for months.
I've been playing it for 1 week. It's been out for 2 or 3 weeks.
It's that new.
It's in a really weird place because if you see a guy with like a blue little stuffed animal, that means he was a guy playing in the beta. And the beta was going on since I want to say October, right? Like maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. But then there was a bigger closed beta a little later, I think. And its active big old release, like proper, it's out. And they came out with a little expansion for it, was like last week. Maybe a week before that.
Does Yasuo do cool sword stuff?
He does. He's a character that when you play a stun card, you do 2 damage to it. Like he'll just attack it and do 2 damage. And once you've stunned 4 or 5 cards, any card that gets stunned, he will just attack with like 5. And you get into situations where he's leveled up and you're like, oh man, I have this massive amount of shit on my board. He'll never defeat it. And he plays some kind of spell that stuns every card in your deck. And you just see his card jump over to yours and go slash, 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 slash. And just your whole team die.
Interesting.
And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Might take a look at him. Although that the effects you're describing sound a bit like Ryu, who is a direct fighter with no gimmicks.
This is the weirdest conversation ever because, like, I'm talking about.
I know. I have
the Runeterra character. No, because I'm talking about the Runeterra character.
Yeah.
in relation to the Street Fighter character, and the Street Fighter characters are obviously way older, but the Teppen version of these characters is in between the League and the Runeterra version. So every time we say, "Oh, it's like that," it's like, no, it's actually like the thing before it.
I'm using the only references I have, man. Like, I'm trying to go like, I'm sorry.
No. I don't mean to shit on you specifically, but it is a weird situation where
I wasn't talking about Ryu as a fighting game character. I'm talking about Ryu and Teppen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where I would say, like, man, Teemo and Fizz on the same team is the most infuriating shit in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually has this moment where people go, "Are you talking about League or are you talking about Runeterra?"
Okay. So in Teppen specifically, which is what I'm talking about, when you play Ryu, he has cards that are like, the moment you play them on the board, it's just a normal card, but the moment you play it on the board, it starts damage. It hits you right away, type of thing. Mm-hmm. So you don't have
like Ryu.
You don't have to wait for the line. It does some instant damage. So yeah, like, it's a little bit of that, Anyway.
Oh, there it is. It's back. I found it. Okay, great. So, dude, let me ask you a question. What limits choosing the cards in your deck in Teppen?
There is, I think it's called AP. There's a point system where basically you can pick up, you have up to 30 cards, but if you mix 2 decks, then you can no longer play high value cards. You can play only cards up to a value of 5 instead of 10.
Okay. Well, that's all. Wow.
So the best cards in the game are all like, they cost like 7 out of 10 to play, or like in some cases like 10 out of 10. And you cannot use the best cards of either color. You can use the weakest cards of both colors.
Okay. So it's great, like unanticipated synergies,
exactly,
or what have you.
Exactly. Yes.
So the way that Hearthstone did it, and it was like this massive barrier to entry for me, was that, and it also made it a massive barrier to entry, like literally monetarily, was that you had a class that you would play in Hearthstone, like Warlock or Paladin, and you would have class specific cards, but then you would also have just general use cards that any class can play, and that general use card like pool was enormous. It was fucking gigantic. And in Runeterra, it's similar
colorless
to Magic.
Cards?
Yeah, they would basically be colorless cards. Yeah. And in Runeterra, it's similar to Magic. It's like, okay, no matter how many regions they add and how many millions of cards they add, I can still only pull from 2 regions. Like, there are 7 regions in the game. Say I pick Darius and Elise as my champions. Like, I'm pulling red and green. I only have to worry about red and green.
Okay.
And I can do stupid shit. Like, I can make a deck that is literally 1 blue card and 39 orange cards. Right? But like it cuts it down. So like when I go to make a deck, even the baby shit decks that I've made, right? I have literally picked the champions that I like or think will work together, and then I go to the card selection and I go, I only want these 2 colors, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cards become like 60.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now granted that will eventually become like 120 once I have all of them, but like the scale is so different. And then the jump after that was, instead of looking at what champions I want, I would look at what cards I want or what type of deck I want, and then pick champions accordingly. But there's like a path to it instead of nothing.
I assume that the colorless cards are garbage by comparison, though.
In this game, there are no colorless cards.
Okay.
Like, I think Magic probably had that, and that made sense for the analogy when you mention it, but this game has no colorless cards. Every card has a region, and if you play a champion, which you probably should because they're much, much better cards that all level up and have crazy effects, you have to play cards from that region.
Okay.
or you can only play cards from that region, that kind of thing.
So
I'm super impressed. It got me to make a deck. It was a terrible deck, but it was a deck that I managed to win one game with to complete like a challenge, and good enough for me.
did you understand the purpose of your deck when you
Yes, I made a
net decked it?
I made a Vladimir Heimdigger deck in which I wanted to flood the board with shit and then hurt them so that I could do damage. And those two, one character steals health from allies to do damage, and the other floods the board with garbage.
Okay.
And it wasn't the best attempt, but I bet it could be a good deck if I knew what I was doing and had better cards to put it together.
Yeah, it is interesting when like there are limitations to mixing colors in the into mixing two colors with your deck, but then you can like circumvent those via, you know, like whatever tricks to get higher and more expensive cards on the board. I think I made reference to like that already with like the Dalamadur and shit like that, where you're just like, you do not have the ability to play this if you pull it normally into your hand, but if you send it to the graveyard and then use a resurrect random graveyard card, then it'll work, you know, and shit like that. So,
hey, by the way, Wooly, and to podcast listeners, I'd like to apologize. There's going to be a bit of fan noise in the background for me because I'm fucking sweating like a fucking bitch out here. It's really bad. I'm really slick and gross. Okay.
Are you getting birthed out of a couch like Daddy DeVito?
It really, really feels that way.
Okay.
It's very hot, and I don't like that. I am horribly disgusted by my body's fluids, and I hate it, and I hate especially sweat because I can't stop it. I can't even hold it back a little. Like, you know, when you gotta pee and you're like, it's a bad time to pee right now. You can clench your dick and pee won't happen. I can't clench my sweat holes.
That's rough, buddy.
It sure is. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Runeterra. Oh, you know what else I've been playing a lot of?
Mm-hmm.
Which I assume will be in the news. Fucking Dead by Daylight. Like a bunch of it. And boy, am I happy that I already knew how to play that game before Pyramid Head got announced and came out.
I was going to say it wasn't in the news, but I did hear that Pyramid Head, the sound of his ass cheeks are clapping in James's head. So.
Yep. Well, they're not clapping in James's head. They're clapping in Dead by Daylight. And I'm seeing some people go, it's Pyramid Head. It shouldn't be. It should be James because it's Heather from Silent Hill 3 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually, if you had actually looked at the game, one, it's actually not Heather Mason. It's Cheryl Mason, which is her real name, which is actually a really, really incredible touch. But it's a Silent Hill 1 level. It's a Silent Hill 2 monster, and it's a Silent Hill 3 character. So it's like a tribute thing. And it's fucking incredible.
Would I be accurate if I were to assess that at current moment the maximum enjoyment you can get from Konami is if the company itself is frozen but their IPs are used as guests and other things?
So this, if you don't count PT, which I'm not sure if you should, right? This Dead by Daylight character is literally the best use of a Silent Hill property since like 2005.
Yeah, okay. Oh man.
Like straight up. The stage and the character and the monster look incredible. Pyramid Head's mechanics are super crazy. They're really fun. Like, it's the kind of thing where, you know, when a licensed character comes in, you're like, cool, licensed character. But then the licensed character is actually just a really cool character in general, like Rash in fucking Killer Instinct.
Yep.
Right. And you're like, oh, cool. Even if this wasn't Pyramid Head, I would think this character is radical. Right.
Okay.
It's a good time. It's a good time in Dead by Daylight. They also, when I stopped playing it a while ago, they were switching over to dedicated servers, and oh my god, the match times were so ridiculous. They were so bad. Now they're, as long as you're playing prime time, they're almost instant. Which, considering as a killer you used to wait longer in the lobby than you used to actually play the fucking game, it's a big fucking deal. It's a big fucking difference.
Is it just Pyramid Head?
No, the way that they put shit out is they put like a new killer pack or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You get a survivor, you get a stage, and you get the killer.
Okay.
So this one, it's the elementary school from Silent Hill 1, which its layout has been almost like pretty faithfully recreated. Like, there's the center courtyard with the big evil symbol. There's the 2 floors. There's the classrooms. Like, it's great.
It's kind of, it's a cool thing that like horror brands and movies almost tend to realize that it's like, in a lot of cases, if we just team up, we can all make money.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight might be the craziest success story in that case I have ever thought of or heard of, because Matt and I played it on the shitstorm a million years ago, back when it was in early access, I think, and we hated it. Like, just, this game seems like shit, and that's because I hate the survivor gameplay. But the killer gameplay is a completely different game,
right?
And probably the goofiest thing is that, you know, that Jason game came out,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th game.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's had its success. I don't particularly care for it compared to Dead by Daylight, and Dead by Daylight has had way more support. But Dead by Daylight came out with 3 characters to start. It came out with Trapper, Wraith, and I think the Hillbilly, right? And one's a evil mountain man with traps, one's a ghost, and the other is definitely not Leatherface as a mutant like hillbilly with a chainsaw, right?
Right.
Definitely not Leatherface, because it's this thing of like, they're this indie game and they want to do these horror icons, but like, we're not gonna ever get the ability to actually do fucking Leatherface. What are you, stupid? Right?
Right.
And now, after its long history and success, the game has Freddy from Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Ghostface from Scream. It has Michael Myers from Halloween. It has fucking the Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
Whoa, really? No shit.
Yeah.
Netflix got in on that. Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Now has Pyramid Head, and it totally does have Leatherface.
I mean, it would have
Freddy
been
from Friday the 13th. Sorry, Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. I fucked up.
I mean, it would have been fucking weird if like Mortal Kombat got Leatherface, but they couldn't.
Yeah.
Like,
also, it also has Amanda the Pig from Saw. And like, it also has other like classic archetypes like the evil clown, or you know, the hag witch, or this guy that is obviously the of evil murderer from The Purge. But it looks like they're gonna get everybody, because they also have Bill from Left 4 Dead and Ash in there.
Okay.
Like Ash, like Evil Dead Ash.
Yeah.
Like, they got And it's like I look at this giant list and how it's like horror all stars.
That's it. And I feel like like multiple people have had the idea of like, can we just do like monster movie mashup? And like this is the first time it seems like it's actually coming together with that many.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, the person who holds the license to this thing is just stupid and or doesn't get it or is just like, give me half of the profit, please.
And it's become one of those weird things because like it's like when third-party characters got added to Smash Bros.
Right. The opening of the potential.
Because now people are looking at it and they're like, is the Xenomorph gonna get it?
There's no restriction. There's no restrictions.
What about the Pyramid Head really opened the door too, because he can send people to his own style of hook, which means that characters don't have to necessarily use the hook mechanic when they kill people, which could lead the way to Xenomorph. And people are like, what about Candyman? What about Chucky? Right? It's just like, why not? Why the fuck not? Right?
Well, what skirts the line of horror and then into like action movie, like where it's just like there's a persistent badass, like I guess Terminators, right?
Yeah.
Like if you got a Terminator in there, it's like, okay, well, it's not really horror, but it is a big monster type threat.
Yeah. And it's this thing where it's like I'm looking at this list and I'm like, man, the way is open for everything but 3 characters that I am convinced will never appear ever. And that is the 2 that are owned by Fox, Terminator and fucking Predator, right? Oh, and Xenomorph as well, I suppose. And Jason.
And
Jason has his own game, so there's no fucking way he will show up in this.
And the Cathaga from the Relic.
I would there is not one Lovecraft character on this list. There is totally a possibility for a Squid Man.
When's our Relic reference?
Never. Definitely never.
Well,
I don't even know what that movie is.
It's got a fucking beast called the Cathaga, and it was the hype.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight, good. I've been playing a lot of it, and dude, it's great. It's just hide and seek, man. It's literally just hide and seek.
What could you okay. What would you do? Like how, let me formulate this. Could you drop The Fly or The Thing into a game like this?
You could do The Fly would just be a monster, right? The Fly would just be a monster, right? You could totally do The Thing. And the way you would do The Thing is it would act like the spy from TF2.
Okay.
It would be able to look like any of the other characters and thus run up to you like what do you call it? Unannounced.
Okay.
Like me and Paige plays it religiously, but she plays Survivor exclusively and I play Killer. And we're thinking about like, well, one of the biggest things in that game is how tall the killer is, because it allows you to see them from way further away.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, well, Chucky would be really cool, but Chucky's like 2 feet tall. Like he'd be invisible. He'd be behind like most objects.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it'd be.
How would you make that fair? And what we came up with is that he would have to stab you 3 times to down you instead of twice.
But he can hide more.
So
often. Okay.
That first stab is free, right? More or less. But the others, and that makes sense. He's a doll. He can't stab you very strongly.
Also, whatever fighting back mechanic you have would be less effective if you're a survivor.
There are precious few fighting back mechanics in that game. There is shine a flashlight in their face or throw firecrackers at their feet. 99% of the thing that people are doing as Survivor to not get killed is fancy jukes.
Right.
Dude, that game's incredible. Like I finally picked
Keeps sounding better and better. Honestly, this is maybe the like third or fourth time it's come up with like update with some new shit, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, this thing is.
It just keeps going, and it did have an issue, like I would call a significant balance issue, where the basic gameplay is you're chasing people and you stab them, but survivors can run through and drop like wooden pallets, and the killer can't just jump over them. And if the killer is right behind them, it stuns them, which gives them a huge lead. And killers tend to run at like 110, 115% speed. So you do what's called pallet looping, in which you find a little circle area with a pallet in it, and the survivor will literally just fucking loop the killer until the killer's about to catch up, and then drop the pallet and run away. And the point of that is not even to escape them, because they might get you. It's to waste like 2.5 minutes of time, so that everybody else on the map can do their objective.
Okay.
And it was this infuriating thing, because like most killers in the game just didn't really have a way to deal with that. And every killer that has come out in like a year has had some new variation or gimmick to deal with that. So you've got they added a guy with a straight up harpoon gun, who, if you get the shot off right, you aim it like it's Call of Duty, right? And if you fucking aim it correctly, you can just yank them towards you before they put the pallet down. Or I was playing as fucking what's his name, Ghostface, and Ghostface's mechanic is that if he's unhidden and peeks out from behind a tree and stares at characters for 5 seconds, they go down in one. So you don't get into the pallet chase, right?
But
now we have Pyramid Head. Oh, sorry, after you.
No, I was gonna say like because I did play Friday the 13th, and I'm like wondering if you're playing as the monster and you encounter somebody who's really good at wasting your time as a survivor. Isn't there a point at which you just go fuck this and just go after someone else?
You just leave. You go after one of the weaker players.
Yeah, I look for a weaker player. Yeah.
And finally, you get Pyramid Head, which is the most aggressive out of these like anti-looping things, where he drags his big fat knife on the ground, and if characters run over it and he manages to down them, that he can just teleport them onto a hook at the farthest ass end of the map, and he doesn't even have to travel there.
Wow. Okay.
In addition, he has a beam attack.
Does he?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
So the way that it works is that he does like a huge slash, and it is big enough that the hit travels forward in this big corridor in front of him, like 10 feet.
They gave him drive?
Yeah, they gave him drive. And the deal with that is that it is one of the only things in the game that goes through walls and objects. So you get into a situation where you're running behind somebody, and then they drop the pallet, and then you charge the beam up and you let it go when they hit the floor, and you hit them anyway.
That's Did he ever do anything like that?
No.
Drive, overdrive.
It's a video game. It's a video game.
That's okay. All right.
So it's this thing of like, if you're looping, he's dragging it behind you, and you will naturally run over the status effect. And then he just uses his beam to pop you down. And the time that would normally be wasted on the other killers, they would have to do all that and then pick you up and drag you to the hook. He just gets to teleport you, and he teleports you at the farthest place away from him. Which is usually...
Can you choose?
No, he cannot choose.
Okay.
And he's just really, really fun and cool. Like, I don't know if he's good. You know, like that. It's that thing that they always do a public test for like a couple weeks, and then they usually tweak them based on like how ridiculous it's being. But like, I think he could be good. He's not unfair because the beam takes a second to come out.
Overall, do you find that these adaptations are like, is this one of the games where like you'd go like, oh yeah, they fucking are nailing it with the integration of the character stuff? Because like the drive thing sounds cool, but if it's coming out of nowhere, I'm kind of just wondering like, is this a game that like sort of takes accuracy into account and figures that stuff out?
The way that it generally works is that it is fairly accurate, maybe not down to the minutia, but in terms of feel. And the way that, say, for Pyramid Head works out is that in Silent Hill, you don't run fucking Pyramid Head in a loop, right? You turn around and you haul ass and you run the fuck away, right? You don't hide under tables from Pyramid Head. You don't, you just, right? Ghostface, I mentioned, he peeks behind shit to literally poke his little head out, go, oh, and stare at you. That's dead on. You have Michael Myers, who actually walks incredibly slowly.
Yes.
But the more he stares at you, the more he speeds up.
Right.
And he gets stronger and stronger as the match goes on, just like a Halloween movie. The one that was the least accurate by far was Freddy, because Freddy had this weird, terrible dream mechanic where he had to put you to sleep, and he could only attack you when you were asleep, and there were too many ways to wake yourself up. And the biggest problem with him is that he was technically accurate, but he was also so terrible. Like the game's tiers right now go from A to C. He was an F.
Oh my god. Okay.
He was terrible.
Well, describe like putting a condition on the attack as such as sleep already sounds.
He was a character that would thrive on basic attacks, but you needed to hit people with a debuff to hit them once. It was absolutely incredibly terrible.
Right. Okay.
And now characters fall asleep naturally, like they would in a Freddy movie. And he also has a mechanic that he shares with the Spirit, which is the Ringu type character, where they just naturally are invisible sometimes. So when him or the Spirit move, their character models, in Spirit's case, she stays stationary, and Freddy just disappears.
Okay.
So it creates the stop, start, or teleport effect, even though you're just moving normally.
Oh, cool. That's smart.
And the Spirit's probably got the single coolest ability in the game, in which she activates her power and you hear a VHS tape rewind noise. And as you are, fast forward noise. And to players, your character model stays locked in place, but you are able to move around freely. And when you come out of it, your old body disappears and your new body reappears. So it is 100% the Ringu, like she's right there staring at you. And then she teleports to basically on top of you.
Right. Okay. That's cool.
The game's incredible.
Because I always like think about the examples of like Shovel Knight being integrated into various games is like the perfect litmus test for accuracy and like faithfulness, like how much work are they going to do? And to date, like I still say that the Rivals of Aether version of Shovel Knight puts all others to shame.
Yeah. Except for Shovel Knight.
Well, of course. So interesting.
And
okay, cool.
Last but not least, to answer your question, the worst character in the game after Freddy got buff is now Leatherface.
Because
the power set that they would have given him got given to their own original off-brand character, the Hillbilly, as guy with chainsaw.
Okay.
And so they gave him a different chainsaw ability. Hillbilly's is he runs at you with the chainsaw, and if he hits you, he downs you, but he's hard to steer. Leatherface's is that he swings wildly left and right in like a 180-degree like cone, but he's still at like regular movement speed. And it's like, dude, Hillbilly is so much better than Leatherface. He's so much better. It's embarrassing. But people still play him because the way that it works is you unlock perks in this game. And you unlock, say, every killer has their specific perks. But if you get them high enough level, any killer can learn them. And Leatherface has the best perk in the game. So you will level him up because you want to get barbecue and chili. So he will get played.
And what's that?
Barbecue and chili, when you hook people, you get to see where the other survivors are. And every time you hook somebody, you get a percentage increase up to 100% of your points that you would spend on upgrades.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So not only does it you hook somebody and go in that direction, so no wasted time.
Yep. But
it can double the amount of points you get for building your character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Also, I played a little bit of Xenoblade. Guess what? It's great. New version's great. It's really high quality. It has a cool level up, level down feature that seems weird, but it seems cool.
So attacks, certain things can level you down, or you can deliberately.
No, the way it works is that Xenoblade Chronicles has a shizillion kajillion side quests.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really, 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 really easy to over-level yourself into the game being nonsense. So if you turn expert mode on, it will bank a significant portion of your experience and keep you at a lower level, like a slower leveling curve.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want, you can just go into a menu and just go, hey, I'm having trouble with this. How much XP do I have banked? Okay, I'm level 4. And then you push people up to like level 8.
Interesting.
And then if you're going into, and apparently in Xenoblade, enemies that are way lower level than you give you very little experience. Like, not that it's not like as effective. Like, they actually give you less overall. So, hey, am I fighting level 8 guys, but I'm level 35? Well, let's just level down to level 8.
I would hate that so much because, like, it's not even a goblin thing. Just the idea that I have more experience and, like, I'm just like doling out a smaller amount to myself. Mm-hmm. For the sake of challenge, I guess I'd be like, but I want more experience because I want more abilities. I also want the challenge.
So here's where it gets super nuts.
I don't want to have less abilities for challenge.
Here's where it gets super nuts. I tested it out to make sure because I had that exact feeling. And I leveled my characters up to the maximum and naturally unlocked abilities. It's one of those games where you get new moves as you level up.
Yeah.
And then I leveled back down and you totally keep those abilities.
Oh, good. Okay. Good. Okay.
So it's also optional, and the reason why it's optional is that I did just the main story as well as like 3 quests, and then I got to the first dungeon at the level you're supposed to be for the first dungeon. Mm-hmm. I had picked up over 30 quests. And even on expert mode, had I done all of those quests, I would have been laughably overpowered for the first dungeon. Mm-hmm. And in the original game, I remember being like 10 levels above the first dungeon. And the reason why that matters so much is that Xenoblade is a gigantic, gigantic game. And spending so much of your time on side quests that don't pose a threat to you ends up making the game feel boring.
Right. Yeah.
So normally, I would actually be like, this is the worst mechanic ever. I totally get it here.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you have, like you said, you have those moves and you can keep them as you level down and stuff sounds fine to me, because ultimately, like, to me, it's almost like good moves, good spells are locked behind experience, but so is damage and strength. And to me, like, I would take the reduced strength over, like, I'll take the reduced strength in order to have the challenge exist, but I don't want to have less of a tool set, you know?
Yeah, moves are more fun than damage.
Exactly. I have fun with my tools. Make it harder if you want, but give me my tools. is how I feel. So yeah, that's good. Okay, they thought about that.
It's basically just a really granular difficulty selector that you can turn off at any time.
Okay.
But yeah, that's me. Let's see. I am going to be streaming at some point this week over twitch.tv/PatStaresAt. I'm currently in a fucking ongoing waiting period with AC repairs, so I'm not going to stream on whatever day that is because that'll take forever. Probably going to be streaming like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Not sure what yet. Maybe some Dark Souls and Runeterra and Call of Duty Warzone, maybe. But check back in at my Twitter at PatStaresAt for the update on that.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot to talk about PSO2. Is that in news?
It's docket. It's docket.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get there on the docket. Right. So I guess.
Hey, Wooly, I'm gonna make a coffee. Do you want a coffee?
Sure. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, I'll get you one.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Hey. While you do that, I guess. Yeah, I'll jump over to my side. So, I talked about Teppen a little bit. I did a stream for it, and got to show off a little bit more of what I was talking about on that, and seems like a lot of people had fun with that. I'm like, oh shit, people like watching some fucking card games. That's cool.
Yeah, I did a Runeterra one, and people actually showed up. I was fucking shocked because I'm a shit baby.
Some people checked the fuck out, but there was a lot of people that were like, oh yeah, this is interesting to look at. So I was like, oh fuck. And a lot of people were like, damn it, it's making me want to go try a card game too. And I'm like, wow, okay, so there's something about just watching these little pictures drop into the slots and the lines go forward, and then and you can't end without doing some gacha, because you gotta gacha. So yeah, that was fun. We did a little quick look at that, and I went up in 3 parts of showing off my Zero stuff. I also took a look at Spark the Electric Jester, which is old. It is a Sonic send-up kind of clone game, but it's also like a lot of other games. And there's a sequel that's 3D, and a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about it. But I remember being recommended to check this game out ever since like years and years and years ago. It's always been on the list of like, hey, if you ever want to, kind of take a look at something in the vein of Freedom Planet, for example, where you're looking at just like a Sonic type game, but it's its own original thing. Check out Spark the Electric Jester. So you have levels that are large and have loop-de-loops and big old speedways like a Sonic level. You have a character that looks Sonic-esque as well, but you have abilities that you pick up throughout the level that are like Kirby abilities, and you can carry 2 of them and cycle through them like Mega Man. So you're doing a whole lot of platforming, and like there's even like a bit of a rush button that works like Sonic Rush as well. So it's just a lot of the fun parts of all those things I just mentioned coming together into this game. Feels really good, feels really fun. Some really amazing sprite work. Some of the backgrounds are incredible, and the music is fucking phenomenal. Super bangers drop in as we go through this. So so far I forget how many powers I've seen, but a healthy amount. They throw a lot of different powers at you that are placed like throughout each level, and you have to kind of pick wisely like how you're going to go through each one. When you grab one, you can pause it, and a bit like Kirby, it gives you a little how to play with each power up. There's multiple moves, so it's not just you get the ice and now you have an ice shot. It's like, no, you got the sword. Well, now you can do the sword / combo. You can charge it up. There's 3 levels to the charge. Each level does a different thing. In the air, there's a down tilt. There's an up tilt. On the ground, there's a down tilt and an up tilt. And the sword, when you do like a dash, like the rush button move, it adds a parry on top of it. So like each ability like completely reworks your move list, which is very Kirby-esque, because like Mega Man, usually you just get a shot, You'll get like the shot and then the charged version of it, whereas Kirby will give you the whole complete rework of the character with each ability. So the full move set is a lot more fun. I love that in games. And in this case, the other thing they do really right is the so far the move sets are all kind of like, they all feel a little bit busted. You feel really, really powerful no matter which one you pick up. Like there's the weakest one I'd probably say is like, it feels like his crossbow, for example, but once you get it, it's a game where you can shoot in 4 directions, but the crossbow shoots in 8. So it adds.
Oh my god, I'm looking at footage of this thing. This is the most like Sonic thing I've ever seen as a different game.
Yeah, lots of speed. Not like, it goes so insanely fast at times. It does the thing that you want to do more in Sonic, which is like hit the edge of the screen and like have the stage trying to keep up with the character. It does that a lot. There's a skateboard ability that's just like specifically for like blasting through the levels and having fun and like doing little like tricks as you jump through the air. You know, lots of abilities where like you have such a massive amount of tools, as I was just talking about a minute ago, that you fucking like, you're like, shit, I don't know if I want to give this up for this other one, but damn, these are all really, really good. And that is a plus. That is a benefit. Like when you are like, I love what I have, but I also love that, and each of these things makes me like feel like I can do a lot but completely differently, then you know, that's the feeling you want to for each of these powers. So Spark the Electric Jester, super fantastic. Really liked it. There's a little bit of wonk every now and then, but for the most part, like it was great. And took a look at that. Didn't end up finishing it. It's not that long. It's a pretty short game. I think How Long to Beat puts it at like 5 or 6 hours tops, but I got most of the way through it. I might pop it back in to finish it off and maybe look at the sequel at some point again in the future if I have a free solo stream day. But that's kind of one of the things that's going to be going up. And yeah, Doom is continuing. Doom is fucking Eternal is yeah, that's we're going places.
Where are you at? Give me a level.
I just did the lore level.
Oh man,
the lore level.
Oh, did you expect it to actually do that shit?
Fuck me, that was amazing.
Oh, it's the best.
You play the thing, and then you're doing the thing, and you're shooting, banging, and you're ripping, and you're tearing, and then you get to a level where the game's like, here, read this lore. And you're like, oh my god, this lore is fucking good. Rip and tear. And it makes so much sense, too, now that you're piecing it together with like what they started out in 2016. Because I remember like when you're playing 2016, I was wondering, I'm like, is all of this stuff with you being like a holy sentinel, like, is that like sort of like a preordained from the get-go destiny that has to now apply to all of Doom 1, 2, and 64? And it's like, no. It happened between 64 and now. And
I have never enjoyed a game more to say, like, where you're like, is this plot deep? And they go, no.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's stupid.
They have all that in there. That's a good time, you know. And then the other thing that's really enjoyable about how they're playing this out, and again, no spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Doom Eternal yet, but there was a humongous argument while I was playing 2016 between folks that were like, that is not the original Doom guy, the Slayer is someone else, and then between those that are like, no, it is the same guy, and shut up, it's cool that it is the same guy. And then
I was one of those second people.
Yes. And this game goes out of its way right off the bat, and then as the further you go on, it continues to hammer the fucking point. Shut the fuck up. It is absolutely the same guy. And it is rad that it's the same guy. And if you didn't want it to be the same guy, too fucking bad.
Too bad.
They fucking beat it into you in case there's any doubt whatsoever. It's like, no, this is the same man. You've been Doom is the story of Doom, you know?
Specifically, laughably, it is the same man from the comic.
Yep.
Which is the deepest, worst, best pull I have ever seen ever.
So I want to hear, if you were one of those folks that was like, no, it's not the same guy, they're different, shut up. If you were one of those people, I'd like to hear how you think about this. You know, I'm curious to know, because quite frankly, I think the confirmation of that being the case just makes it better. And it was almost like a thing where it's like, you could argue the point when it was up for interpretation if you wanted it to not be him. But why would you want it to not be him? You know? So.
Baddest dude that ever lived.
Fuck yeah. Anyway, but that's pretty much where I am. So I'm still making it through, and I'm not fully done yet. But boy, there's some really fun shit in there, and I'll get into that once we get through a little bit further. Shout outs to Proto Virgil, then Real Virgil, then like other Virgil type fights that start coming into the game. I'm a fan of the game going, hey, look at this badass right here. Pay attention to this. In fact, we're going to put you in a room that's swarming you with shit, but there is one clear threat that has to go. As we were talking about a little bit before, it's like, no. This thing needs to die right now. Fuck the rest of this room until this thing is dead. Feels great. So that's a good time. We had a really interesting, fun time with Skullgirls this week on Getting to Fighting Games. Basically, I managed to get a remote sort of episodic, a remote setup going where like the setup was really not. It took some work, but like I got it going so that I was able to do a remote session of Skullgirls with Sharpie, that purple Sharpie, shout outs, and with Crank, who is a TO, and basically they're both community like fucking supporters, and they've been on that Skullgirls since forever, and like, you know, just some great people to sit down and kind of learn the ropes with, you know. And we just kind of spent a couple hours in the lab, you know, and they kind of walked through like what's happening in some of those really fast advanced levels. They walked through some stuff that the game has like indicators of that I didn't know about, and they explained some really interesting mechanics that, you know, are not quite as obvious once you jump in for the first time. And then we kind of I got a little primer on the characters I wanted to learn, in particular Peacock, Big Band, and Beowulf. So yeah, it was a really, really educational and fun thing for a different type of episode we did, you know. And then honestly, like, I'm super looking forward to doing these types of episodes in the future. If you want to see what it's like to just like kind of start from the ground up, you know, with a character, and just get advice from like people who really know it, and walk you through like this is what this character does, this is how you apply it, this is how you use it. It's the type of thing where it might be a little bit drier than the you know, sort of just like playing for casual fun episodes that we do, but like it is super handy if you're just like, I want to pick up one of these characters and just start messing around and fighting online. If you just want to get like an initial game plan, it's super handy for that, you know. So get into the Skullgirls lab is what I'm going to be calling it, is going to start coming out as well. We had a really good time with that this week.
Excellent timing considering, well, not just Skullgirls placement, but they just got that fucking HD update for the UI.
Yep. Absolutely. Skullgirls still getting updated. Still, after all this time, like new, like more even more shit coming, more life, you know. So that's awesome. Really, really happy that like people are just getting like overwhelmed with all these updates because it's just like, yeah, we're putting more quality of life in there. Yeah, like I said, I'm currently working my way through Korra, but I think I'll just, like I said, I'll get into that once I'm done with it, you know. But I'm making some progress, so don't need to press too much on that. I'll let you guys know once I'm through.
All right. Well, with that, do we have news?
We do. Hey, if you want to check out anything we're doing, if you want to check out any of the stuff we discussed and what I mentioned, you can check out Wooly Versus on Twitch, Wooly Versus on YouTube, and Wooly Wools on Twitter. And let's take a quick word from our sponsor this week before we jump into the news. So, yeah, this week, the podcast is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
Hey, ExpressVPN. I appreciate you letting me watch Always Sunny on Netflix.
In fact, I made use of this exact ability earlier yesterday when I wanted to follow some news and some shows. I was specifically going to check out... there was an episode of Last Week Tonight that was not available, of course, because they're not available in Canada. But thanks to things like, thanks to ExpressVPN and, you know, that type of, like having that type of ability to, you know, switch over to a US IP. And then I was like, oh yeah, click play, watch the thing. Cool. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, ExpressVPN. So yeah, it's just that simple. It is a handy way that you can switch your identity to that of multiple countries, and your ability to check out different shows on Netflix is one of the things you get. Of course, there's also the security aspects. There's the fact that you know, your internet service provider can see everything you're doing and can snoop on you, and ExpressVPN is great for not having that happen to you. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, to obfuscate your internet use.
Doesn't matter what ISP you have. ISPs in the US can legally sell your information to ad companies. ExpressVPN is an app that reroutes your internet connection through secure servers, so your ISP cannot see those sites that you're visiting, and keeps your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time, you don't even realize it's on. It's runs seamlessly in the background, easy to use. All you do is tap the button and you're protected, and it's available on all your devices, phones, computers, and even your smart TV. So no excuse. Just go for it. It works, man.
I've been using it, and it's a very good program / add-on for your browser to use. Okay. I enjoyed this product very much.
Increase your security and your access to entertainment simply and effectively. Protect your online activity today with the VPN rated #1 by CNET and Wired. Yeah, you can visit our exclusive link to support the show. Visit my exclusive link, expressvpn.com/superbeast, and you get 3 extra months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/superbeast. expressvpn.com/superbeast to learn more. Thank you, ExpressVPN.
Thanks, ExpressVPN.
All right, so yeah, there's some news. I think.
What we got first?
Well, why not start with the good old boys down at Quantic Dream?
Hey, Quantic Dream, what up? What's up?
The co-CEO of Quantic Dream, creators of Detroit Become Human, say, in a now deleted tweet, mind you, racism in any shape or form is shameful, stupid, and must be fought against everywhere and always. All lives matter and are equal regardless of skin color, religious belief, sex, or sexual orientation or else. At Detroit Game is precisely about that.
I thought that Detroit was not about racism or black people or racism or black people.
In fact, if I remember correctly, Detroit was just asking some questions.
What about robots?
Just putting some questions out there, you know? And we can decide as a society what we think this game is about. Oh my god.
You know what cracked me up, dude? There's a streamer out there. I'm not personally familiar with the guy. He was a black dude.
Yeah.
And he's playing Detroit and he's just looking at it and he just goes, "You know what this game is? What if black people were robots?"
Yep.
just straight up. Which in and of itself, in that context, is actually insanely racist. It's so racist. What if they were made to serve us?
But it's not.
Would it be okay if they rebelled?
It's not even the premise in and of itself, because it is the premise combined with the subtlety of a bat to the head. You know, because
and then the refusal to admit it.
Because think about, I'm like when I was like a kid, when I was a child, I remember discovering that Professor X versus Magneto was MLK versus Malcolm X.
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the first things I remember discovering about the entire X-Men story. So it's not that. It's just your complete lack of ability to deliver an appropriate story with tact. But way to tag your fucking game in at the end of your shit there, bro. Oh my god.
And way to botch whatever intent you have by putting the all lives matter thing in the middle there.
Well,
so I'm going to blame a translation for that.
Yeah, I mean,
or maybe I shouldn't. I don't fucking know anymore. But that's probably why they deleted the tweet.
Who fucking knows? But yeah, one might say that, you know, that's also something you might want to be aware of in putting that out. But hey, tweet deleted, you know, what it is what it is.
We got a reconfirmation from the chat. Says that the Twitter account originally made just a literal all lives matter tweet and then deleted it, and then we got this tweet instead.
Rad.
So
Rad.
I think my favorite use of the all lives matter phrase was I forget who it was retweeted it, but it was all lives matter. I yell when I pull out my bow and arrow and fire it into humans. Did you see that guy?
I did see that guy.
I'm gonna go back and say that's my most shocking one.
I mean, it used to be Waka.
Yeah.
But here we are. Yeah.
As Waka takes the Albed and tosses them into the ocean to get eaten by Sin.
Yeah. So. And just in case for some reason it's not painfully obvious, it's like, yeah, duh. The point is that Black Lives Matter too. Obviously. Like,
yeah, it's become,
if you're taking up that point of what's the word, umbrage, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It is almost like why are you acting like you don't get the purpose of this?
It you know what it reminds me of? So, like, you know, people say, a guy says Black Lives Matter, and then the response is, well, all lives matter. It's like, yes, but you're kind of saying that as a refutation. It reminds me of back in the day, I got to see the real version of a girl bitching about her boyfriend because he was a dumbass, right? And she's like, oh, men. And people around, well, I'm a guy, I'm not like that. It's like, it's not about you. Yeah. It's not like fucking calm down.
Yeah. I mean, look,
fucking relax.
it's you know, it's like, if that's the argument you want to take up, if that's the thing that is bugging you the most, then like just consider your priorities, or don't, and let the statement stand about, you know, like what you think is more important to discuss. So but anyway, so alongside that, because you know, that's where the ride starts, but it certainly doesn't end there. Oh no, because next we got to take the train down to we got to make a stop.
Where are we stopping?
We're stopping at GameSpot.
GameSpot. What up, GameSpot?
GameSpot on Twitter.
Specifically spot, not stop.
GameSpot. By the way, I made a podcast preview video a couple weeks ago when we discussed GameStop and its bullshit.
Yeah.
And how fucking crazy it is. And I made a podcast preview video where I sarcastically said something to the effect of, this week we talk about the wonderful job employment opportunities at GameStop, and YouTube flagged the fucking video and pulled it down as inappropriate and dangerous.
That's incredible.
And I had to literally have a fucking counterclaim explanation written in to go, no, we were sarcastically making reference to how awful they are in the discussion that this podcast I am linking to is about, made quite clearly. I don't know if your algorithm robot just saw the words wonderful employment opportunities at GameStop and said, fuck that video. But please understand, this is not what is happening here. Everyone gets the sarcasm. And they thankfully accepted and rescinded it, so my channel didn't get a warning. But I got a fucking warning over that video. Wow. It's at that rate. It's at the point where they're like, this is a dangerous company that needs to be stopped, according to YouTube's fucking detection system. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Spot, GameSpot on Twitter, which says, for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, we will stop posting in our social feeds in tribute to George Floyd.
Go fuck yourselves.
We dedicate this time to the victims of police brutality and the powerful movement fighting for justice. Join at Color of Change and text demands to 55156. You know, the bravery and courage it takes to stop posting to all your social feeds for 8 minutes and 46 seconds was
that posted like at 11 a.m. where it would be an hour before any of their like a CMS would have updated anyway, so it was like free. It was just free.
22 hours ago. I don't know. You do the math on it, but yeah.
Like,
what
are they
a
really
show!
Posting every 4 minutes? Of course not.
Thanks, brand. Thank you. What
Wooly,
would we do?
Wooly, I don't know if you know this, but Adidas and Nike have taken the historic step to retweet each other going, yeah, we got this, guys. We're behind you. You guys can keep buying sneakers. Please keep buying sneakers.
Again, the Raylith tweet.
Dude, that was the tweet the Raylith one was about. It was cracking me up.
Okay.
I saw social media people come from all over responding to people go, oh my God, that's so crazy that they retweeted Adidas and all the social media people was like, that means nothing. That's literally a button click. It means nothing. They're tricking you to just buy sneakers. You're idiots.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's just a 4-panel comic saying, we here at Brand encourage everyone to come together in this difficult time to buy our product. And it's crying. And then someone taps the brand on the shoulder. And that's another brand. And it says, buy our product too. And then they're hugging each other and they're crying. And the word consume is floating in the air above them.
Incredible. I think my favorite variation of that, I'm gonna fucking unretweet it and then retweet it again. I think I just saw you just did.
Yeah.
I think my favorite so far is like the Onion came out and was like sweatshop worker devastated over sweater she worked so hard on looted from local store.
Pretty wild. Pretty
And
wild.
Like, oh, right, yeah, all our clothes are made by slaves, right? I forgot.
So after that stop at GameSpot, we can take a little short jog down, and this one's a little bit more subtle, but we can take a quick jog down to Activision Blizzard.
Oh, hey, what are you guys doing?
Today and always, we support all those who stand against racism and inequality. There's no place for it in our society or in any society. Black Lives Matter from Activision and Blizzard. Cool. No doubt. For sure. What about Blitzchung? What happened?
No, they're in support of people's lives, not their rights.
What? Okay. Because
See, the Chinese can't be racist against the Hong Kong because they're Chinese too. See? See? See?
Inconvenient? Hong Kong? No?
But money.
Oh.
Money?
Brand.
Thanks, Brand.
Yep, that's
Is the Sony one in there?
Sony's in there. So
Sony was going to have an event on Thursday.
Yep.
Right.
And that's in fact, Sony is in fact the last one I'm going to pull up here, which is Sony's just they were going to have the PlayStation 5 event. They said we're postponing it because now's not the time. And
would be insensitive.
That's what they did. I don't got much to say about it. It's like, okay, sure. But it definitely was a wild ride because the train then rolls off the tracks and right through the comments. If you feel like a good time, just follow the train as it flies through the air and straight through the comment section of
and you discover that this delay of this announcement is actually much more important than what's going on. Much more
than you thought, one might say.
Oh, yes. I will say I do have one thing to say about Sony, and I'll say it again because I saw a lot. I've become so cynical that I'm looking at other people who are less cynical and calling them morons, and I don't care anymore.
Okay.
And it was people going like, wow, Sony, that's really great. That's really thoughtful and sensitive that you would not, And I'm like, it's because they can't be in the news, dumbasses. They're not going to be trending on Twitter with this shit popping off. Who gives a goddamn fuck about the people? Has nothing to do. There could be a world war going on, and as long as the world war was going on for a little while, yeah, they'd announce the fucking PS5, but not right when it kicks off.
Yeah, that is not untrue. Again, I didn't take as much of an issue with what they had to say as compared to the other people we covered. But
I want to be really clear. I'm not actually taking issue with Sony's delay. I think it's totally smart, and that's fine. And their statement was appropriate. I specifically want to call out the dumbness of thinking that Sony Corp did it to be sensitive to people, right? Like people giving credit
to ignore the practicality of why they would have to do it.
People giving credit to practical actions like they're emotional or like wholesome. It's like, fuck off. What are you, stupid?
I definitely was pleased when I first clicked on that to see the first response was a solidly liked clip from one Castle Super Beast, which in the pre-COVID days when you kind of sat there and were saying, hey, we play video games as a hobby. It's also our jobs, and we do it pretty much as a life thing. It's the entirety of our focus, and it's everything that that pays the bills and is also what we are passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
They're fucking video games, man.
They're just video games.
Fucking video games. And it was like, yeah, that's kind of the sentiment some people in that thread needed to hear. You know,
I thought what you were gonna say was that a clip that I am now like laughing nervously about real hard, where back on March 24th, I started to have a retail flashback and start freaking out about how we need to burn it all down.
Oh.
Before you eventually calm me down. And I look back on that and I go, oh, yeah. It's funny. It's funny the things you say when you're thinking about retail.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Do not blame me for this. No one listens to me.
When you say for this, can you specify? Can you narrow the scope there?
No. Nope. Not gonna. Nope. Don't blame me for anything. How about that?
Because I mean, like, do you mean like
nope.
all
We're
of this?
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it.
Okay.
Any of it. I wasn't there. I didn't see nothing. I didn't do nothing. Where's my lawyer?
Yeah. So, thanks, brands.
I love you, brands.
Consume.
You know, Dan Reichert's a really funny guy. He might be the dumbest guy in the world, but there was an incredible Giant Bombcast discussion in which someone was trying to tell him brands aren't your friend, and he's like, "What? I love brands."
Okay.
Like the phrase "I love brands"
yeah,
came out of his mouth, and it was just unbelievable.
Hey, was that was that Randy one real?
It was super real.
Oh my god.
What Randy one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the one where it said, "Hey, if you want to kill some pig cops, play our game." What Duke Nukem or what like?
Or you can kill pigs safely.
Yeah,
That's like, it's like holy shit, dude.
What do you?
I appreciated the Mr. Feels retweet of that, which was a alleged pedophile who doesn't play his employees encourages violence.
Like, you somehow managed to hit the exact same tone deafness as Quantic Dream, except with infinitely less tact.
And possible call to violence, which you know, bad. No.
I assume since I saw it in the form of a JPEG that it got deleted.
Who knows?
But, like, where's that thing in your brain that makes you stop and reread it before pressing the button? I don't, anyway.
Well, that thing in your brain is not there when you're carrying around your work USB drive that has big, barely legal squirters on it. And you lose it at medieval times.
You know, if this were like 20 years ago or 10 years or 15 years ago, that fucking lawyer asshole, I forgot his name, Jack Thompson would grab one of these and go, "Look, Your Honor, look at this tweet." You know?
No, you know what Jack Thompson would say right now? It's like, you know what games black kids like to play? Grand Theft Auto. Told you so. Told you so. And you'd be like, God damn it, Jack.
Actually, what I think Jack Thompson would say right now is, damn, I wish I was still a lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
You got to be a real bad lawyer for the state to go, you don't get to be a lawyer anymore.
Anyway. You know, maybe, you know, maybe we could all get together and have a time of healing by watching things that I discovered existed a couple nights ago, such as Shaggy 2 Dope streaming Samurai Showdown.
Get out!
You know, maybe
how are we supposed to compete with this shit?
Maybe we can all come together and just, maybe that's the kumbaya. Maybe Shaggy 2 Dope streaming Samurai Showdown on his Twitch channel is in fact the kumbaya that we need right now.
Who's he play?
I tuned in and I saw him playing Earthquake.
Cool.
And his friend
of course! Earthquakes have juggalo
he's a giant juggalo. He's a giant juggalo. Of course he is. Hell yeah. Earthquake's down with the family. And you know, he's practically got a Hatchet Man tattoo. And he was playing the Earthquake and he was fighting against like whoever he streams with, his friend the Creep, I believe, who was
the Creep,
who was playing I think Jubei. But yeah, that was like, all right, 2020, I see you. Hey,
juggalos are weirdly wholesome, trashy but wholesome. It's fucking weird.
It's the perfect cross section of those two things. When you max out your stat points on wholesome and trashy, you get the family. That's absolutely it.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize what that meant for a second. Oh my god, that's terrible. That's terrible. Like family. Oh my god, I hate it.
You know, like at one point in time, juggalos were the they were about to be classified as a terrorist group or whatever the shit, you know, which is a pretty loose definition these days. And they managed to, what was it? And just from that, they kind of ended up being this thing where, people are like, oh yeah, you come on out and it's a bunch of like fucking just weird kids hanging out at the gathering of the juggalos in the woods, and if they don't like you, you might get literal shit flung at you, but it's also if you're kind of garbage like Tila Tequila, and you turn out to be,
oh come on,
you know,
kind of garbage,
you know. Well, if you know, perhaps they could read the future, because she was not yet, she wasn't at that time an Asian Nazi, and I don't mean that in the like, that doesn't mean, I mean literally she is like
she dresses up,
go Hitler, go, yeah, like she wasn't that yet, but maybe they could smell it on her, because actual feces was thrown in her direction on the stage, which is insanely fucked up.
Well, they are the insane clown posse.
Yeah. Oh, folks missed out on the part where Tila Tequila became a Nazi. Yeah, she did. Go check it out.
Oh yeah, no, full on. Like full on
hardcore.
Not there. Like new wave either. Like old fashioned.
Yeah.
That shit was nuts.
Yeah. So, you know. But the juggalos are out there. The juggalos are in fact out there. They're, yeah, you can look into it. Anyway, you want to talk about PSO2? Talk about PSO2.
All right, here we go. Hey, you know, hey, do you remember Games for Windows Live?
I do. In fact, I had to do compliance testing.
Was that a piece of shit?
It was the worst platform we ever had to test for.
Well, I have good news for you. It's no longer the worst Windows games platform, as the Windows Store or the Windows App Store is the worst now. Even worse. So back in the day, Games for Windows Live, what's it do? Oh, it doesn't update properly. Downloads the wrong drivers. You know, game won't boot. PSO2 is not only a game from 2012, and has its own little foibles, right? But the Windows Store just adds a dump truck of feces all over it. I have heard of almost every single type of problem you could run into installing a game on PC. I personally couldn't get the game to run over what I think is 240p because the game refuses to allow me to turn off resolution scaling because the Windows app folder it creates is protected and you can't even delete it.
Sounds like you managed to get it booted.
I did boot it.
That's pretty.
I spoke to a friend of mine, Cool Lightning. As soon as it finished downloading, he went to load it and it blue screened his computer. Something he had never seen happen.
I mean,
ever.
That's a pretty impressive feat in and of itself, but also getting it to boot is an impressive feat because from the news, it sounds like Phantasy Star Online 2, after 8 years, finally is available in North America, but it is exclusively on the Microsoft Store, and people are having all kinds of bullshit problems installing it. Namely, that it takes 2 steps to install. First, you download an 11 gig partial launcher from the Microsoft Store, and then you continue getting the rest of the 80 gig game from the client. And apparently, these 2 things do not play nicely, and
they sure don't.
Everything breaks.
I had the resolution problem. My buddy had a blue screen. I talked to a guy named President Miyazaki in my sub Discord. The game would attempt to re-download itself every time he turned it on. And because the way the Windows Store works, and it must protect the integrity of the files, it doesn't duplicate or overwrite it. It just installs it again on a slightly different location. And when you go to uninstall it, it only uninstalls the launcher, and you have to do registry edits and all sorts of shit to get that shit off your fucking that fucking goddamn crap. It is everything that I have heard that could ever go wrong with an install has gone wrong with this install.
So
I am talking to people. I have 2 friends who are playing it and think it's cool. Everybody else I know installed it, spent a couple hours fighting it, and gave up.
Yeah. Like it's straight up, like I'm seeing reports here that like it's like, oh, some people re-downloaded it multiple times, and each new instance of its fucking 90 gig installation was a new error that did not occur on the last installation.
Yeah.
And there's like a screenshot of like 6 different error messages that just are just completely different from each other. I just saw Mouth say he was trying to it took him 24 hours.
So
to get it.
The PSO2 tweaker gang, the people who did the translation stuff, they have, as of today, made the tweaker so that it will download the North American version outside of the Windows Store, and it works. And the reason for this is because if you download the Japanese version, all you really have to do is edit an INI file before it updates and change JP to NA, and you'll just get the fucking North American version of the app.
It's just that simple.
The app itself is not region locked. Just your acquiral of it through the Windows Store is. But it's this thing where I was talking to people on the PSO2 translation team over the weekend. And I was like, they were like, dude, we got this. We're going to fix it. It'll be playable. And I'm like, I waited years for an official release because I didn't want to play this game through bootleg channels, because when you play an MMO or a card game or whatever through bootleg channels, there's always the possibility that they update it and they kill whatever solution you've been using to play it, and then that game is just gone, right? And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited for the official release, and the official release came out and was the most negative experience I could have imagined. And the solution to it, while incredible, was just use the new bootleg.
Yeah.
Right? And also on a blunt like use, PSO is like a Warframe MMO. Like, you know, it's like a persistent game, and I feel very anxious playing a persistent server-based game that would be released in such a fucked up state. One of the craziest things about it was that there are 6 servers and only 3 were available, and the game became instantly maxed out on players because I think they tried to use the Xbox player base as a measure of interest. I was talking to a buddy of mine who did manage to get through and play, and him and his buddies couldn't get onto the same ship. But they went, oh, what if we go to the personal housing, and then we can all be in my personal housing thing, and then we can leave the personal housing thing together, right? Except what happened was they went to the personal housing instance, and then the servers all filled up behind them, and their characters became trapped.
Oh my god. Oh,
like,
fuck. Okay.
Like, even though the PSO translation team and tweaking team has done an incredible job fixing this, dude, Sega handles this game like garbage for our region.
And my understanding is that like this was fine for Japan for the last 8 years,
more or less.
Yeah. Okay.
They just half-assed it to us because they only used the money that Microsoft paid them to barely shit it out over here.
Oh, dear God. Like, so, like, I mean, what the fuck? Like, I get
So it's been a long-standing
GM like just grab you and pull you out? Like, what would you even?
No, because there's nowhere to put you.
Oh my God.
They still haven't put those servers on, by the way. There are 3 servers just sitting there. You can see them on the server select that are just off. Wow. And no one can figure out why they won't turn them on. Sega does not care about the North American, European, or Australian audiences for this game. And as such, it becomes incredibly difficult to invest any amount of time in it because you have no idea how fucked up playing the game is going to be over time. There was a long-standing thing with a lot of Korean MMOs for a long time, and it hurt their success out here because they would be a patch behind in English.
Ooh, okay.
And that's like a couple months. So people who got really, really, really invested into the game would stop playing the English servers. They go play the Korean ones.
Yeah, that happened.
They didn't speak Korean.
That happened on both Guns, the Duel, and it happened on Ragnarok Online.
And then the company looks at the fucking American servers and they go, well, people are leaving it. The game's not popular there. And then support. You know, it's like. So yeah, I have absolutely been killed of any desire to play PSO2. And that is not an uncommon sentiment from the people that I spoke to. The average person that I knew in my group of people that I know was like, yeah, I'll try out PSO2. That game seems cool. It wasn't like a fervent, like, oh my God, PSO2 is coming out, right? And it's turned into like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I just don't want to deal with this. Just fuck it. I'll play something else. But
yet they bothered nearly a decade later. You know,
it's this is like a high watermark for fucked up PC releases. I would say that the worst PC release of note, the worst game release of note before this would be the original Final Fantasy 14.
Are you putting an MMO qualifier on that statement?
No.
Because we've covered some really bad PC ports.
Oh, yeah. This isn't even about PC ports. Well, it kind of is, because the fucking Xbox version is fine. The Xbox version even has better text support. You know the game doesn't support higher than 1080p?
Does not support higher than 1080p?
Yeah, you can put the resolution higher, but the text will only scale up to 1080p.
Okay.
So if you fucking run it at 4K, it's unplayable. It's the smallest text you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
How much does it cost?
Can I take a moment to point out one last thing?
Yeah, how much does it cost?
Free.
Okay.
When people are talking about a fucked up PC port, if you're gonna come in to a thread or a Twitter thread or a forum thread or a chat and go, works fine for me, I need you to untype that and shove it up your ass, as that is a useless sentence.
What are you talking about? Works fine. It's great. I see no problem.
Okay, Wooly, you've run into a lot of tech stuff. I want to ask you personally, which is worse? Which is worse? Okay. Tech support thread, right? And you're like, hey, I can't get my printer to whatever, right? Doesn't really matter. And the guy goes, works fine for me. Awful, right? Just not helpful. So is that worse than the guy who goes, hey, I don't know how to fix this thing, and it's your exact problem? And then they go, never mind, fixed it.
And you're like, what did you do?
And the thread is 6 years old.
Yeah. And there's like 4 people going, what the fuck, dude? What did you do? Yeah. That one's worse. That one's worse because they came back. They came back to say they came back to say works fine for me.
Yeah. Now, it'll work fine for me, but not for you.
You know, they left and then they returned to do the exact same thing. Yeah.
People are saying one that I've never seen, which is PM'd you the fix.
Hey, Pat, how's that race working out for you?
Which one's that?
How's being white working out for you?
It's pretty okay.
That's say the thing.
It's great.
Works fine for me.
Oh no! I dropped the ball. Oh no! Yeah, this race thing just works for me. I don't know. It's like I don't know what you guys are talking about. I didn't have any problems.
I was born. I installed it. It worked, and it's been great.
No blue screens.
None.
Not even a one.
Been going for 3 decades. Not a problem. It's old, reliable. I don't know what you guys are complaining about. You know?
Please don't put this on me. Please take this joke back. Can we move on?
Works fine for me.
Oh no, I dropped something.
We can talk about a couple things. I know what we should talk about. Let's talk about Kimba the White Lion.
Yo, I hear that shit's hot right now.
I gotta give a shout out to
Kimba the White Lion is one of them.
I gotta give a shout out to Your Movie Sucks and Adam, because there is a 2.5 hour dissertation about Kimba the White Lion, and it is
friend of the podcast, Adam. That is,
yes, he's been on the show. That is breaking down a common comparison that has happened over the years, where Kimba the White Lion, made by Osamu Tezuka, was being called the original Lion King that Disney then ripped off. And for years, it's as long as I can remember, that was the end of it. And there was originally a couple of side-by-side screenshots, and I saw them, and I went, oh boy, yeah, okay. and then there was a couple of compilation videos, and you're like, oh boy, geez, yeah,
Wow, that's a crazy ripoff. Holy shit.
Well, damn. And I remember just being like, well, that's open and shut. But I've never gone through Kimba the White Lion. I don't know anything about the story, and I just looked at what seemed to be a very convincing series of comparisons. And you're like, well, shit. I mean, look, his name is Kimba. The other lion's name is Simba. And there's what you know. And then there was in fact a large. I want to say there was a huge petition signed by over like 400 animators in Japan to get Disney to acknowledge that they were inspired by Kimba the White Lion and that they gave it no credit. So what Adam did was go through thousands of hours, apparently, of Kimba content in the form of multiple seasons of anime and then remade seasons of anime.
So I have a
movies, manga.
I have a bit of a background on that because Paige and Adam are good friends, and when he was doing the research on this, they were hanging out at a film festival right before COVID popped off. And the way that it was described to me was that Adam was like, I don't care what's going on in here. This Kimba shit is on 24 hours a day. And Kimba was just on
all the time,
permanently,
always, yeah,
for the entirety of the Sundance Film Festival in the background.
So my understanding,
look over and be like, "What's going on? Oh, more blackface. Oh, good."
So this project was like almost a year in the making or so, or something like that.
Yes,
but
it was because he originally just wanted to have like a 5-minute. He talks about it in the video. He wanted to have like a 5-minute thing in the beginning of the Lion King review, where he's like, "Yo, this Kimba stuff," right? And then the more and more he looked into it, just like the bigger and bigger it got, and the more fucked Kimba the White Lion is.
Oh, well, certainly. I mean, there's literally a point. So the what's great about this is that it's a 2.5-hour video, but in the first 10 minutes, you get the abstract. You get the full summary of like, here's what's up, and here's why it's a bullshit comparison, and here's why everything you've been hearing for years is a lie. Also, here's blackface. And
lots of it.
Copious amounts. You know, it's fucking crazy. It's crazy, dude. And so the gist is essentially that if you start comparing these two IPs, it's completely dishonest, because when you're talking about The Lion King, you're drawing from a 90-minute film. When you're talking about Kimba, you're drawing from like at least 3 different 52-episode animes, a handful of movies, and years of manga that have covered the broadest, most nonsensical stories, and like these and there's so many characters that are just complete non-entities to the main plot, or one-offs that mean nothing. And one of the most guilty things is most of the side-by-side comparison shots that look so similar are taken from a movie that was made after The Lion King came out. So this Kimba movie, of the many different Kimba adaptations there are, happened to fucking ape Lion King shots, and now it's being used for the reverse implication because the property of Kimba came first.
It's crazy.
It's nuts, dude. And so you end up seeing stuff where it's like, okay, so you see all these moments where people were like these, there's more than one YouTube channel has come along and built its entire like bedrock on the foundation of a Kimba is a ripoff, Lion King is a ripoff video. And it's clear to see that none of these people have done the research, because they're quoting the exact same things and showing these scenes that are from a movie that came afterwards. And there's a lot of things where you see a side-by-side of, for example, out of context, like a Timon and Pumbaa sort of moment where Pumbaa the warthog is being compared to this other warthog from Kimba. And like they're just, and you see these shots that are like, oh man, there it is, it looks so similar. And then he explains, he's like, yeah, this warthog shows up for one episode and has a weird ass side story,
Pain fetish,
where he has a pain fetish, and then it kind of goes nowhere, and then he's never seen again in the hours.
Please spank me, I'm bad. And it's like, okay,
you know, and like a bunch of other shit like that, where you're like, oh yeah, okay, if you grab the most you have to work the angles, basically. You have to work the angles to grab every shot you can to line them up and make them look similar. And, you know, those comparison movies do it. But if you sit and do the fucking research, which, God bless, he actually did, it's a lie. It's a complete lie. It's not real.
Or, hey, it's a big lie. Or would you say that they're lying?
Go watch the video. It's 2.5 hours, and by the end of it, it is a thorough debunking of the ripoff theory. And yeah, you'll learn more about Kimba the White Lion than you've ever known, because guess what? None of us watched or read Kimba. I don't know anybody who has.
They hung out in his dad's corpse so much.
I knew Kimba was, he carries Mufasa's body. The Mufasa equivalent, he carries the body around and uses it to inspire other animals. Listen, I knew it as one of Tezuka's works, and it shows up in Astro Boy in the game, and I knew it in that context, and I knew it in the context of people say that this is where the Lion King ripped its shit off, and then it's like, that's it. And you just do a little bit of work not a little bit. That's not true. That's a lie. Do a lot of work, and then you prove that
too many works.
You prove that it's not true. It is not true. Debunked. Good shit.
Why are people telling me to check the Cyberpunk Twitter? I mean, I'll do it. You have to tell me multiple times. Cyberpunk.
They delayed their thing.
Yeah, they delayed their thing.
Okay.
That's it. It's not a big deal.
All right. Well, anyway. Here's something pretty rad.
Tell me about your rad thing.
Steam, Stadia, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. What do they all have in common?
Cross-play with Battle for the Grid.
Hell yeah.
I knew it.
Power Rangers Battle for the Grid becomes the first game to feature cross-play across every single platform.
That's cool.
I mean, of all the games to get the credit, fuck yeah, good job. Good job, guys. You did it. Power Rangers fighting game's pretty fun. Lots of cool stuff happening in it. It's got the spirit of Marvel in its bones. And you can play it on all platforms. And games like that need it, because they're not going to have a giant install base on any individual platform. So it's absolutely like a benefit, because anyone who picks up this game on fucking, Stadia, like, who the fuck are you going to fight? So good on them. Good on them for figuring that out.
Dude, I saw some people complaining. This is a bit off topic, but Elder Scrolls Online fans are super pissed off because the patch cycle on it has been delayed by a week, because it's on Stadia.
That's the worst reason to not get your shit.
It's like, because Stadia requires special certification. So
no.
Fuck.
But hey, those cross-play across 5 platforms, kind of like the Power Rangers uniting up in a Megazord.
Kinda.
Good on you. Good on you, Power Rangers. Now, if only everyone else could get along.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
I mean, that Fortnite thing was like Sony almost died. Like Sony almost fucking like Sony ran in there and threatened to fucking shoot itself in the head if we dare make Fortnite cross-play compatible. It's like, shut up. I'll do it. We got some news that... Oh, yeah. Wait, no, hold on. I don't know what you know about Trackmania.
I know a little. I know a lot of people really like it. It's a cool, weird game.
Well, for some reason, because we took a look at it some time ago and ran into some issues with it, but folks are that are dedicated to the game are loyal, so loyal in fact that Ubisoft has decided to push the limits of that loyalty by announcing that Trackmania is not a subscription-based game.
It's not a subscription.
But you just have to pay for it multiple times.
Uh-huh.
New pricing scheme. Coming out with the new Trackmania is that you'll be paying $10 a year for the game service, or hold on, this isn't updated. Okay, here we go. All right, there's an update to the original story. So the original story was that it was $10 per year to play Trackmania, or $30 per year for the Club Access special version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
After which point, it would then have to be purchased at the end of that year again. But it's not a subscription. When the time is over, you have...
It's not a subscription, goddammit.
You buy it for one period, and then that's it. When the time is over, you buy the game again for the time that you want to access it again. Is what Ubisoft themselves have described this as. It's but it's not a subscription. Okay.
It's not a subscription. Obviously, come on, fucking Jesus. Get it together, bro.
Just keep buying it. It's not.
Just keep buying it on like a monthly or yearly basis automatically. God, they're so fucking full of shit.
Yeah, there's two tiers. So let me look at this update now. The update says managing director of Ubisoft clarifies on Twitter that the Trackmania is in fact subscription based, but that's not the point.
Oh, it's not the point. Did he elaborate as to what the point was?
The question of that, the question is that for online games that can benefit from support for years, what's the best model for each genre? In his opinion, $10 for a year of service, and then the opportunity to pay $10 for another year or not if you prefer, makes more sense than paying full price for a game that many people won't play for a year anyway. And those who do stay committed, the pricing scheme makes it easier for developers to continue supporting the game with new content in the long run. Okay, well, then give people the option to do that, or just fucking buy it and have it, and then that's the end of it. Because it's nice to have the thing so that I own it, and then I don't have to think about whatever you decide to do with it in the future, whether you pull it or move it or something goes wrong or whatever the case is. Offer this thing that you want to do. Let people do it if they'd like to do it. Nothing wrong. That's fine. And then just otherwise let people just buy the fucking game, and then they can have the game. and be like, hey, look, I bought it and now I have it, and that's the end of it. It's not that complicated.
No, it's very complicated. Very complicated. Because
Wheel 5.0. Death Stranding was profitable.
Good. Kind of surprised, honestly. That game was a mess.
Money exists for their next project, so don't worry, says Kojima. But a recent big project fell through, and that makes him sad.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Apparently, yep. He says that a bit upset that a big project recently fell through, but that sort of thing happens in the industry. But Death Stranding was profitable and has allowed them to plan for the next Koji production. But it is true that when you say something is profitable, it implies that it is not groundbreaking, but successful.
That game was the craziest shit ever, and I can't believe it's really good, and I understand people hating its shit. So the fact that it was profitable is kind of bananas.
The weirdest part, and it's just because of the way these things work, is that if something called Death Stranding 2 were to drop, that would probably be a way bigger moneymaker.
Yeah.
But
The sequel's better.
And it's you recognize the name you heard before, but you didn't bother. But now, why would you do that? These stories are better told standalone, but the name recognition and all that shit. Yeah. Anyway, which it's not a story, but it just reminds me of that tweet where the dude is streaming DMC5. Please tell me you saw that.
I don't understand this game.
What is happening? And then Dante just starts dancing and he fucking throws the headphones off.
Yeah.
Oh, bless your heart.
I did some research on that. That dude jumped in at DMC5 and was like,
of course he did. Of course. I didn't need to be told that. You didn't need to tell me that.
Yeah, but it was good that I did.
That's inferred. The moment you see some dude, on stream being like, what is happening in this game even? It's like, well, what is happening is that you jumped on a hype train bandwagon because everyone was excited about it, but you didn't know what the game was, and you ignored the part where the number on it was 5, and then you thought it would be fine and that everyone would tune in because you're playing the popular game, and then you got confused because you jumped in at part fucking 5. And then when Dante starts dancing, and it's one of the best slam dunks in the fucking game, he tosses his headphones off because I don't know what's going on, bro.
I don't get it.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best part for him to do that too. Love that. I
don't understand.
I should be able to play this. I should be able to turn to a random page in this book and know exactly what is happening. Fucking awesome. What a great moment. Just the silence from the headset as Dante spins and does his fucking cowboy dance. Yep. It's good times.
I love you, Dante.
And lastly, we can talk about a Guilty Gear Strive developer's backyard dialogue. Basically,
the backyard?
No,
or like
the developer's backyard. It's basically a dev diary that is like, the game's delayed now. So what they're doing is they're putting out these large updates that are trying to be transparent about feedback and answering a lot of the questions people have. So I think this is probably for the best. I think if they continue to openly answer these things, people can kind of get what they're going for and then specifically say, hey, that's not a good idea. Which, you know, a bunch of that is happening with this game. So, not that things need to be made by committee or with too many cooks, but like I said, there are some valid concerns that people have. The first post they put up just gave you some stats on usage, and the CBT had some CBT data about, you know, who was played the most, who was most requested, and
I can't take it goddamn seriously, man.
too bad.
CBT has data, huh? I bet it does.
Too bad. There's a cage on it.
I bet it has motherfucking data.
And then the second section goes into answers to your concerns from the developers. And they came out and basically brought up multiple things that people have been asking about and or concerns. So, for example, concern, the damage is too high. They go into a little section about why they made the damage high, specifically saying that a central idea behind this title is that you can deal big damage without memorizing long combos, as required in previous games. We wanted to make the damage in the beta test extreme to get the idea across. Before the game's release, we'll be adjusting it by looking at feedback and match results. And then it also talks about how Gatling, you know, being in or out, like what that means, why they made those design decisions, and what they wanted to kind of go for. And it's a you know, a longer discussion about those points, which again helps the confusion by giving it some context. And I still don't fully agree with why, but now you can kind of be like, okay, well, now step 2 of this is to get the response to the explanation of what you're thinking here. You know, they're pulling a me by explaining their thought process, and
Yeah.
and I think it'll be for the best, for the health of the game, because this is also happening right after the delay was announced, so there's going to be some time between now and launch. The second concern they address is the 3D camera movement. Some people saying it disrupts the game pace. They kind of talk about what they wanted with that, as well as the user interface being not great. They talk about the risk gauge being hard to see. They talk about the counter hit thing being too big. They talk about the lobbies being pretty shit.
The lobbies are...
Apparently there's...
Holy shit, they're terrible.
So apparently those 2D lobbies, there's some feature that they said is not that is not present in the test that was necessary, that they want to show off. So apparently the reason for going with the 2D look and all that and simplifying it into this basic way is because there's some cool feature that needs that look.
That's the feature that it works.
Well, there you go. Right? Because it's like whatever that feature is, it can't be more important than matching up with somebody and fighting them, you know? To put it another way, we talked, I told everyone about the awesomeness in them's fighting herds and the salt mines. You know, you can go back and check out, I did a video on it where you can go see, like, you know, what that's like on Wooly Versus, but that's an awesome online feature where you can play with a bunch of people in a lobby in an asymmetrical like sort of extra side game, you know, in a fighting game server. But if that feature meant that you could not just fight and play with people in normal matches, or if that decreased the ability of the matchmaking to just work, then that would not be worth it. So
no, not.
So yeah, it sounds like, you know, they're gonna try to reveal that and I guess get this working or rework the whole thing possibly, but they want to show off that feature that they're describing that we have not seen yet. That would explain why the lobby system has such a change from what it used to be, which is little 3D avatars sitting down at cabinets that worked. And then yeah, and a little bit more on the design ideas behind like it not being rock and roll enough. And they're saying Regarding the user interface in general, we've gotten many comments that the design is not rock and roll enough. Rest assured, we will make it rock. So, yeah, it's just if you kind of want to hear, from the horse's mouth what they're thinking as they readjust all this shit. It's going to be cool to see the screenshots, even if it's in progress, to be like, okay, all right, because it's important to like rebuild some of the faith that was lost by the shit that didn't work, especially when the game looks so fucking good and you really, really, really want it to launch in a good state. And all I can say is that, if they use this delay and developer diary to do all the work that would otherwise come from having a bad launch, then we can skip the bad launch and get to the phase of the game where things are solid.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really smart to get that shit out of the way before you launch by just telling people what's going on in the game and getting the feedback on that and adjusting it, and then we can start this whole thing out right with the most beautiful looking game, not having a shitty launch and actually having people excited about buying it once it drops. And then there's no like, oh, should I buy Guilty Gear? And it's like, you do, like, all right, you want to kill that discussion. You want the answer to be an unequivocal yes. So, fingers crossed. All right. Well, let's take some letters and do our thing.
All right. Hey, you want to send in a letter? Send it into castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
And if you do, it might sound a little something like this. Cyvonix says, "Hey, keyboard and fight stick, how are your days? I apologize in advance for how difficult this might be to say out loud. I was going through my Twitter feed and I saw something interesting. I saw someone's tweet had the phrase Castle Super Beast, or Castle Space Super Beast, all one word. This made me realize I almost always spell it Castle Space Super Space Beast. At the same time, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see something such as Castle Space Super hyphen Beast." You see where this is going.
I do.
The weird train of thought made me realize that there's all sorts of different stylizations from individual to individual. Whether or not the official way to do it was confirmed by the creators. Can you think of any IPs with a massive range of disparity in different people's spelling, stylization, and pronunciation? My mind jumps to many anime series where you see a mishmash of name pronunciations.
Attack on Titan's pretty incredible in this respect.
Yeah. I mean, if you need the official branding on it, it's 3 words.
Yeah, it's 3 words.
So, that's that.
But that's okay.
But I think the logo has the space between each, and then the compressed logo shows you the 3 lines. So it's 3 words. But yeah, I don't know in terms of officially what would have.
Officially, I don't know.
Spider-Man and Spider-Man were always,
What about
Marvel has to fight against that?
What about all the different ways people talk about Hiroaka?
I guess.
Is it Hiroaka? Is it Boku
no Hero Macadamia?
Is it Green Naruto?
Is it Macadamia?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Boku no Hero Academy.
Oh, that's the worst. I don't care for that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say Spider-Man is probably the biggest one that is, Marvel
I've seen
constantly has to fight against. Yeah.
The weird variations of the spelling.
Yep. Yes, I do know about the Attack on Titan trailer. No, I have not watched it because apparently it's chock full of spoilers, and that's the end of the discussion.
It's one of those things where I watched it and I'm like, I'm sure these are spoilers, but I don't know. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
I'd rather not. I'd rather not.
I don't think there's a single image more spoilery than like the manga panel of like the final series of chapters where they showed off some characters in a new look.
Yeah,
And I
so
was like, oh,
not
you
interested.
guys look very different.
Not interested, you know? So if you're out there waiting for us to talk about it, I won't. Good.
Damn you, sir.
Hill says, Yo, castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. I've been playing Nier Automata recently.
Good old Nier Automata.
Nier Automata. Despite a few minor gripes, I've been really enjoying it. One of the said gripes I've realized is I hate the corpse run system. Not enough to not like the game, but I hate it nonetheless. Games that use it, Nier, Dark Souls, Hollow Knight, etc., despite being incredible, I feel like don't benefit from this system. In Nier specifically, I rarely die to begin with, but when I do, 90% of the time I'm within a short jog of an access point, so it's effectively pointless. All it does is making the entire equipment plug-in system feel disposable and pointless, because if I slip up and die twice, I'll lose all my good shit anyways. I've never seen a game that does it effectively. I just feel like the game inconveniencing you and pretending it's a challenge. Am I crazy? Am I alone? Or are there any mechanics like this that you hate, despite being present in the games you love?
I don't think the corpse run system in Automata is any good at all, personally.
You die so rarely that it is like...
It just seems like, oh yeah, you guys put this in here? I guess. Mm-hmm. Right? But corpse running has a certain fun to it. Corpse running in World of Warcraft when people are PvP shitting all over your dead body was both incredibly cool when you pulled it off, but usually horrible.
Yeah, I think dropping your chips in a game where you barely die doesn't add much. Dropping your money and or experience in Souls games is a little bit different.
Dude, FF11's de-leveling thing is like the most punishing shit.
Oh, when the boss hits you with an unlevel attack?
No, if you die, you just lose experience.
Oh my god. With no
and money is very hard to come by in that game. So you could de-level and not be able to wear any of the shit you had.
Can you level down, or do you just go down to 0 at the current level?
You could totally level down.
That's brutal. That's brutal. That's fucking brutal.
It's super brutal. And so you'd be like, oh, I have to go make money to buy gear for one level below me so that I can use that gear to level up to one level above because I de-leveled.
It also makes no sense from a conceptual point of view.
Shut up.
Experience.
That's what the devs say.
Experience that's what?
You lost some of your memories when you came back to life.
You got dumber. Yeah.
You lost some of your memoirs.
To be honest, I'm probably upset some fans of this mechanic, but I don't have love in my heart for crafting.
It's a cool system that I'm sure a lot of people appreciate. And I say this as a Omni crafter in Final Fantasy XIV, but in the vast majority of games, it's like, I just wish this wasn't here at all.
I want to buy the item that has the numbers that I see, and I want those items. I don't enjoy, especially when it's crafting with an RNG, aspect to it, where you're like, well, each time you make it, it might be a good one, might be a bad one. Who knows? Like, I don't like that. It doesn't make me want to play more. It doesn't draw me in. I just want the weapon. Please allow me to acquire the weapon that is there. And we don't need 80 versions of, it's nothing for me. It does nothing. But it's for other people. So at the same time, I can just pass on a game that it's all about that. But boy, I don't like RNG crafting.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I really don't blame you at all.
What's the best version of it?
Best version of it? Of crafting?
Because to me, it's a mild to major negative, you know?
I like it Monster Hunter. I think it's a net positive in that game.
Yeah, Monster Hunter doesn't add RNG to it.
No, RNG crafting, I'm gonna say is bad by default. I think Guild Wars 2 had a really cool crafting system where you would discover recipes by using ingredients.
Yeah. Like, I remember fucking by the end of Transformers, the Platinum game, you just have an inventory full of garbage weapons, and you're like, what am I doing with these again? I don't know. You can throw some of these out, but if you keep like a bunch of duplicates, you might be able to mix them with another one to get something else, but it might not be purple. And you're just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, shut up. Give me the good weapon. Like, let me earn what I need to earn to get it. Like, stop. You know, it's artificial fucking like length and depth. It's so
if you can build and grind towards something, okay, right? But every time you add like a random number generator into it, you're like, oh, I could have, like, you very, very rarely get, oh my God, I got the best version. That's incredible. And it's much more common that it's like, oh, I got the subpar or even terrible version.
Yeah. You know what's nice? None of that, and just being like, I got the super shotgun. Fuck yeah.
I got it.
That feels good. Oh man, now I got the meat hook. And that's it. It's great. You had a tool added to your fucking tool belt. And you don't have to be like, yay, I got the super shotgun, but oh my God, it's F. Okay. Well, I have the hooking ability, which is still good, but this damage sucks. I might as well switch back to my normal gun.
Yeah.
Fucking, the Anthem and Destiny or whatever. Like, so, anyway. Yeah. That does it for me. I don't know. Do you have any abilities like that?
Any mechanics that I'm just like, ugh.
The turn off?
Let me think. I don't like RNG in general. Like, I think, and it's a long-standing thing, I don't think that consumables in games are very good at all. I think they're usually pretty terrible, and either the game is so hard that if you fuck up using consumables, you'll be fucked later, which causes you to hoard them, or the game is easy enough that you can ignore consumables. So why are they even there most of the time?
I've never played a game where you have exactly what you need and it's not a horde system or I'm all out. I've never, ever, ever played a single game that wasn't one or the other extreme.
Sucks.
Yep.
And I always end up just like selling them for gold because gold can turn into gear, which isn't gonna vary. Like, I remember playing Bloodborne and we had those fucking thunder papers. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh man, they're really strong against, this type of enemy. Cool. Let's use it. We used them all up. And now the enemy is still not dead, and it's fuck.
Yeah, how about instead you just have the consumable effect be something that can be obtained by the item itself on the map in the stage?
You know what's one of the best things about Xenoblade Chronicles? When you finish a battle, your characters just regenerate all their health.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Because that sucks.
In-world power up that if you like that you can, if whatever area you're in, it might be a benefit, to go grab that or to go do the thing, but you get the effect there, and then you don't have to worry about this like fucking, nonsense hoarding thing. Yep. Agreed. Hey, Castle Super Beast crew. James says, recently the Persona fandom has been going through a surge in popularity due to P5R, going through the classic popular new thing sucks, old stuff was better phase. With P3, great game being held up as a masterpiece regardless of its flaws and lack of quality of life. Never getting re-released, of course. My question is, what's the worst instance of rewriting history due to the thing becoming popular you've seen? What's an instance of this phenomenon you actually agree with?
That I actually agree with? Oh. Because I was about to say, like, the worst instance that I ever saw in my life was Resident Evil. Those old games suck, dude.
Interesting.
Terrible. It's like, fuck yourself.
Never heard you say that, but I did hear how much.
And you never will.
Right. I think one of the biggest ones I can think of is Twin Snakes. But I'm also the guy that doesn't hate Twin Snakes. But I know that everybody hates Twin Snakes.
Yeah.
The mailing thing.
That game's bad.
The mailing thing sucks, but otherwise, like, I don't mind. I don't like Twin Snakes. Doesn't upset me.
It should.
There's some ridiculous fucking Kitamura action set piece moments that are just like, yeah, fuck it, why not? We got like, why not, man? Sure. Yeah, he backflips off a Stinger missile and shoots. It's okay. He can hang off the ledge. You can do the MGS2 ledge hanging, Sons of Liberty ledge hanging. Ninja and him have anime battles. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? Let's go for it. Yeah. But that's like the only one I can really think of. Ultimately, you kind of... I remember the discussion I had back in the day with another Metal Gear fan in school where they said, like, they're like, you know, if you look at all of Foxhound in MGS1, they're insane super soldiers. And the whole time we're being told that Snake is a super soldier, but he's really just regular player character man. So those cutscenes kind of make it a little bit more believable that he's on that level, because otherwise you're not really given any evidence through gameplay that he's that special.
Except for the fact that you can, like, easily knock people out in just a couple hits and sneak around and snap dudes' necks like it's nothing.
Yeah, but in comparison to put your controller on the floor.
You know what? I think, like, really nailed it home for me, and is when me and you were talking about Twin Snakes, like, 10 years ago. And I talked about how one of the things that I didn't like about Twin Snakes was that it portrayed Solid Snake as so ridiculously powerful compared to Big Boss, because MGS3 had come out. And you pointed something out to me that happens in MGS3 that is, like, shot camera-wise to be not as big of a deal, but it's actually way more insane than anything Snake does in Twin Snakes. And that's when Pain attacks Big Boss. Big Boss is able to protect himself with a knife because he is cutting the bees so fast that the bees can't sting him.
I did point that out.
And how absurd that is.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. You know, these are fucking... It's just ridiculous, you know? And I kind of get the feeling of, like, all right, to me, Twin Snakes was just Gendy Clone Wars. You know?
Okay.
Mace Windu is force crushing droids like left and right and running up walls. So
somebody asks in the chat a good question. If I hate Twin Snakes, then why don't I care about Revengeance, which did something similar? It's like, Revengeance is pretty consistent with the amount of stupid shit you see Raiden do in MGS4.
I mean,
there's a direct through line there.
Yeah, but there's
whereas
also
MGS1 was a remake of existing events.
And I'd even go like if I were to argue the opposite end of it as well, I would even go as far as to say that there is also a very consistent, like, the technology has become ridiculous.
It's magic at that point.
The abilities of the characters are following what tech has been able to allow them to do, and in the era of the Revengeance future, you can split it wide open Tovaretch, because you have the body that is entirely robotic that allows you to swing and jump that high.
I remember a quote somebody was making fun of Raiden's feathered hair a million years ago when Revengeance came out.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 4. And somebody replied to it, and it's stuck in my brain. And I look at Raiden like with horror now. And it's like, you spend a lot of time on your hair too if you were a robot from the molars down.
Yeah.
And it's like, God damn it. Like,
it's literally
it's the only part of his body
have
that
left.
can express.
It's all you have left. One of those 2 eyeballs is also not real.
Like, Raiden is a fucking Sub-Zero fatality walking around in a metal skin.
Worse than RoboCop.
Yeah.
You know? He doesn't even have both of the eyes in the sockets. He's a fucking jaw.
This man has no dick.
So, yeah. Allow him to spruce up his hair and get it did.
What else does he have to do in the morning, really? Maybe oil his joints?
Don't fucking throw shade. Let him have his hair.
Man, that scene in RoboCop was so fucked up.
Yeah. But Raiden had it worse. Make no mistake. Don't get it twisted.
He doesn't even have the one lung.
But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, the man is a robot from the fucking jaw down. Like, he is holding a boat back on foot. Like, come on.
Dude, not even. When I say the molars down, his lower jaw is also robot.
Yeah, that's what I said, from the jaw down.
Oh, okay. When because like, oh, geez.
Like, his mouth is cut and everything, his bottom jaw is robotic and everything beneath that continues to be robotic. Yeah.
So fucked.
It's not even like,
so
otherwise
bad.
you'd just be like, oh, he's a robot head. He's a living head on a robot body, which is somehow creepier. Like, for some reason, the idea of a living head on a robot body just makes me think of like that weird monkey experiment. But the jaw,
I don't want to talk about that.
But the jaw part just makes it like, okay, well, it's just crazy tech. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah.
Somebody's saying, but Pat, you want to be transhumanist. No, I just want my brain in a full robot. That's way less terrifying than keeping some fleshy bits.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I want mostly fleshy bits with
like one cool part.
With a couple of cool parts, yeah. Hansers. I think like you don't have to have that horror moment if you still have most of your torso and you kind of just have the limbs replaced for cool shit.
Yeah. Jensen's cool.
I want my dick, man.
You want to keep your dick?
I want to keep my dick.
What if you could get a better dick?
No.
It could spin and play radio.
Nah, my dick's pretty good. I want to keep it.
Okay, let me ask you a question here. What if they could give you a robo dick, but they would hook it in to your like brain and it would feel twice as good?
I cannot be convinced. This is a hardline stance.
And everyone's having great sex with their robo dicks, and then you're out there and people are like, can't believe this guy's got a fucking An old skin dick. Jesus.
Fuck off. Give me the drugs. Like put the thing in my brain that just simulate, like, you know, like do it some other way.
You're hanging out yeah, with your boys, and you're there just like, hey man, I got the new Horsey 5000. What you repping? I don't know why that just popped into my head. It's like the newest model of fake dick is the Horsey 5000.
Of course. It's got a V8 engine in it.
It's got two attachments, flat and round.
I'm not interested under any circumstances whatsoever. So, yeah, everything from head to dick. We're going to keep that, and then we'll slowly replace the rest with cool robot shit.
So can I get a denial from you that you will not upgrade your dick to the Horsey 5000?
I will sign that dotted line.
It's got the logo on the side.
Of course it does. And it's sleek. And it's got the 5000 in like super future font that's like italicized. Yep. Have my shit looking like the fucking techno-organic virus has infected it. Have it looking like Cable's arm.
Oh no, we got a new batch of malware out there affecting the Horsey brand.
Uh-oh, there's a Trojan virus affecting your dick.
Oh no.
Now all of the good feelings go to someone else that's hijacking.
What?
They hacked your dick, bro. Your dick got hacked. Dick hacks. What you gonna do now?
Don't dick hack my Horsey 5000.
What you gonna do now? Oh,
Don't
you want to
do
feel
it.
good? You want to feel good? Well, you're not getting it anymore. They stole it.
Where's it going?
To someone else's brain.
Oh no.
The hacker has taken it from you. The ultimate in NTR.
Oh, I don't like this.
No, you didn't. But you shouldn't have given up your fucking dick, bro. Never forget that we live in a world where a man discovered that you can hack into a pacemaker. He was then suicided before he could give a presentation to warn everybody about this ability. So make no mistake, the moment you replace your dick with the robo-dong, it will get hacked. What kind of fucking what kind of encryption you running on that bad boy? Not enough.
Not enough.
End to end. WEP. We still doing WEP over here? Oh my god. The Wi-Fi signal on it. Dude, I click on my devices in my computer sometimes, and I see things I don't recognize. And I go, what the fuck is that? And I squint at it real good, and I look at the driver properties to try and figure out what the fuck that device is, or who for that matter. You do not need this on your fucking dong.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
Fucking Norton out here, a McAfee, trying to convince you to protect your dick while they're themselves infecting it.
No, I don't like that.
Folks, we're gonna call it there.
Yeah, that seems like a good time to call it.
Good.
All right, everybody, you stay safe out there.
Do that. Actually do that. And I don't know. Don't fucking at me. How about that? How about we end on that note? Don't
That works for me.
Don't fucking at me. I don't want to hear it. Peace if you got a piece, but I don't want to hear it. Not the time. All right?
Okay, bye everybody.
Take care.